Hey, welcome to Toddy D's Pro Wrestling Podcast. If you don't know by now, I'm your host, Brooklyn's own Toddy D. And in the house today, I have an old friend of mine from my NWA Cyberspace Shockwave days. He used to wrestle with All Money Is Legal. He was known back in the day as K-Pusha. His tag partner was K-Murda. And now he is a solo act wrestling in Shenzhen, China, known as Buffa, along with the Boombox. My man, welcome to the podcast. It's been a New York minute. How are you?
Oh, man. I've been great, man. It's great to be here with you, man. It's been, a long time. Time flies, man.
It does,
I'm
man.
glad to be here with you, man.
It's been about 15, 16 years since we were in cyberspace. Can you believe that?
Ooh.
Yeah, I got the gray hair to prove it.
I have a few in there somewhere.
Nah, they're well hidden if you have any gray.
I'm just trying to hide it, yeah.
No, mine are full blown and showing. This is all natural.
Ah, man.
So before we get into everything, I just was curious, how did you wind up in Shenzhen, China?
Oh, man, Shenzhen was maybe my third time in China.
Okay.
I was in China previously, before that. But ever since Shanghai, I've lived out here.
Really?
And I was like maybe, 2019.
Okay.
I was here before. I was living in Hong Kong.
Wow.
Around 2016 to now. I was just going back and forth from like Hong Kong to Japan to mainland China. So I had came home in 2019 because when I was in Japan, it was in 2000 and I think it was what 19? Yeah, it was 2019. I was in Japan.
Okay.
Then I got invited to a WWE tryout by William Regal.
Oh, okay.
So he basically told me like the tryout is here for you. You know, if you want it, come back to the States, try out, see what happens. So that's the reason why I left Japan.
Okay. So this was with NXT. You had a tryout.
Yeah.
Okay.
NXT. So I came back home. The tryout was supposed to be in, I think, September or October.
Okay.
But they delayed it to December 2019. So after I finished up in Japan, I came back home and got ready for the tryout. Then I had the tryout. And a few months after the tryout, I got invited to OWE in Shanghai. So that's what brought me back to China.
Oh, all right. Interesting. Because now when you say when you went back home, that's Hunts Point, Bronx, New York, correct?
Oh, yeah. I was in New York. I was in the city for maybe a few months. Then I went back down to Tampa, Florida, because my brother K-Murda, he lives in Tampa, and not Tampa. My mom's lives in Tampa. My sister lives in Tampa. My brother lives in Miami.
Okay, so now getting with your brother with K-Murda, when you guys were All Money Is Legal. First of all, my favorite tag team in NWA Cyberspace, definitely a top three group. I mean, I was looking at some of my notes here, and back in April 30th of 2005, you guys were the opening card against Trilogy. And you can see all the material. Credit to my main man, Diehard Derek Gordon on Midnight Hustle.
Yes.
He's got everything dropped on his page. Man. You know, Derek, as everybody is aware or not aware, he was the main booker. He held the creative pen in NWA Cyberspace. But if you want to see any All Money Is Legal or any cyberspace videos, go to Midnight Hustle. Shout out to you, Derek. But now getting back to your brother, K-Murda, when did you guys break up and is he still wrestling?
We never broke up. It was a situation where, he had 2 kids.
Okay.
And at the time, the business was kind of slowing down.
Right.
So the bookings wasn't coming in as much. The money wasn't coming in as much. And, living in New York City is very expensive.
Oh, yeah, I know.
The cost of living down in Florida is a lot better. So he had to make a decision, continue to dream or, be a father. That's
right. It's a responsibility. I know. Trust me. Yeah.
Huge responsibility.
Huge.
So he basically told me like, man, I can't do this, man. Because he was working on the side in between wrestling.
Okay.
So it's like 2 kids, trying to make ends meet. It's kind of hard. And, traveling around wrestling.
Right.
So it was tough. So he's like, man, I'm going down to Florida. He's like, do what we always planned to do was, move to Japan and wrestle out there full time.
Right. Yeah. Japan is huge. Right.
Yeah. It was already set, ready to go, but he was at a point where he's kind of like, he got a little sour on the business,
Yeah.
because the business was pretty bad at that time, man. Like 2014 was like the last time we teamed up.
Last time I won
And
you, I was
New
about to
England,
ask you. Okay. So now, how
yeah.
did you guys
So,
start? Did you guys start out in the business together, or was it separate?
oh yes, yes. Oh, together,
So when did
together.
you start out, and where? Who you trained by?
We started out at the Doghouse in Brooklyn, New York.
Oh, okay, world famous doghouse. Sure,
Yeah,
sure. Yeah,
you
a
know,
couple of
Low
guys that
Key,
worked in cyberspace were
Homicide.
there. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
Ezekiel
awesome.
Jackson. Like a lot of names came out of there. So we started there in 2001.
Okay,
And we started, yeah, we used to do something that we called, it was a level above backyard wrestling because we wasn't in the backyard.
right.
So we would rent the Doghouse ring on like Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. And we called them small indies because these shows were taking place in an actual like wrestling gym inside of a wrestling ring.
Okay,
So we would pay like $10.
practice your
Every
bumps.
every guy in our every guy in
Yeah.
our little company would pay $10, and I would
Okay,
make up for the ring cost for like the whole afternoon.
that's awesome.
So we would like book our own shows and all that stuff. So we had
Right.
like fans coming because I had a hotline promoting the company
Oh, I remember
back
the
when the
days of the
hotline.
hotline. That was big.
Yes, man. Ah, the golden era right
You
there,
know, it's
man.
funny.
Before the
Speaking about the
internet, the
hotlines,
hotlines.
man. Not to cut you off, but speaking of
Ah,
the
man.
hotline, I remember back in the days when they had the hotlines before the internet blew up. You
Yeah.
know, shit was nice and private. Nothing got out.
Mm-hmm.
There was no, hey, guess who's going to make a surprise appearance? You had that actual
Mm-hmm.
holy shit factor when the guy or the girl came out because you
Yeah.
had no heads up ahead of time, which was
Mm-hmm.
great. I mean, so like back in
Oh
the day
man,
when
it
you
was the
started,
best.
yeah, it was awesome. I mean, the 900 lines people would call and saying, "Oh shit, I got to get the scoop," you know.
Yeah.
Now it's like everybody knows
Yeah.
everything, and I don't like the way it's
Yeah,
become.
even before it happens, man. It's I don't even watch it anymore, honestly. I
Yeah,
watch the oldies, things
so
I
do
grew
I.
up on. I
Yeah.
watch, man.
One of my
I
monikers
can't.
when I talk, I say
Uh,
being a fan since '77 because I'm a little older than you. So,
mm-hmm.
you know, I was
Yeah.
a fan throughout the late '70s. I loved the '80s, the '90s. Attitude Era was off the hook,
Oh,
and I think
man.
wrestling today, you know, which I'm going to get into with you, like today, there's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
leg slaps that I see, and I'm not a fan of the leg slaps.
Ooh,
You know, how do you feel about that?
man. I hate them.
Huh? Okay,
I
good.
hate them. Like
Yeah,
I had this conversation with a few of the guys here in China, and I said, why is everyone doing leg slaps? You have all these other areas of your body to slap.
exactly.
Why everybody like I slap my chest,
Right.
you know, if I'm throwing up, I don't like to slap anyways, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So if I was to throw a super kick, which I really never do, I would slap my chest. I wouldn't slap my thigh, you know
But the
what I
way you
mean?
do it is
Wow.
a quick movement. The leg
Yeah.
slapping is so like out in the
Like,
open where everybody can see it.
yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
come on, man.
Yeah, it's like, you
You
know,
got fans
even
doing it when they
right.
like, come on, man.
Even the casual fan will pick that up. So
Yeah, like, and they do.
yeah,
I just like we did a show in the shopping mall a few weeks ago, and there was people in the shopping mall doing this because all these guys is
right,
doing
because
this. I'm
they're
like,
hip
come
to it.
on, man. Like, yeah, the fans are like
Yeah,
punching each other, like, oh, stomping. And like, come
it's like
on, man.
you're ruining the whole way of doing things just by doing that.
Yeah,
You're saying, hey, guy, you got to do something better than that.
yeah,
But
the illusion is out the window, man. Like,
exactly.
I,
So get
I
into
can't
your
stomach
mall.
it.
Yeah, I know, me either. So get into the mall matches, being in Japan,
Mm-hmm.
wrestling as Buffa and the Boombox. I'm an old school
Yeah.
guy. Back in the day, we used to have the big boombox radios. We called them
Oh,
ghetto
man.
blasters. We had all kinds of
Yes, the
nicknames for
ghetto
them.
blasters.
So now,
Yes.
how did you come about the gimmick, and what made you decide to, change it, change it up and change your name?
This came after we did our first tour of Japan. Because, you know, at the time, where all money is legal. So a lot of guys should always ask, like, what does that name mean? Like, we don't get it. Then we would
Right.
explain it to them. It was like, all right, but you guys are baby faces. It sounds like a hill name.
Right.
I'm like, yeah, but no, because if you see our background, where we're from,
Right.
it
Heels were
makes
cool.
sense, you know. Yeah,
Little
but
edge.
we weren't hills, but
You could be a baby face with an
like,
edge.
yeah,
Yeah.
basically, yeah, that's
Exactly.
what we were.
Yeah.
And you know, Pusha, Murda. So when we
The
got
whole
to
gimmick was
Japan, that
great.
kind of changed. Yeah, it changed
Yeah.
our mentality. after Japan, I'm just like, man, you know, we have kids in the crowd chanting Murda and Pusha.
You got to change stuff up now.
We wanted to be a positive, you know, influence on our community. You know,
you don't want to have mini Murda, mini Pusha.
Yeah, because you know, hip hop at the time was just like blowing up. You know, so we would take it from hip hop, take it from our real life. You know, our environment.
Right,
So
just turn the volume up.
Yeah, it's like, you know what? It's time for a change. You know, we just came back from Japan. You know, everything is respectful out there. You know,
right? Sure, it's like a different world with fans wise, the respect, the culture. You know, it's funny because watching your matches, I saw one of the videos with Jam on It was in the background. Now it's funny because back in the days in the 80s, I was always into rock and roll and heavy metal. But one of my best friends growing up, he was a breakdancer. So he got me into UTFO. So believe it or not, I know the real Roxanne. I know Bite It. I know the words to all the songs. And people look at me and they're like, how the hell do you know that if you've been listening to like Metallica and all these other crazy bands? I said, bro, I have mega cultures. But getting back to All Money Is Legal, one of the coolest things you guys used to do in the ring, when the ref would be checking like your feet and your hands, make sure there's no foreign objects. You guys would go down to your knees, put the hands behind your heads, like you're being frisked. That shit was fucking hilarious. I loved it.
Man,
what made you come up with that?
Hey, man, we was in that position a few times, you know.
Yeah.
Coming from where we came from, you know.
So bringing the reality.
We wanted to represent what we were going through at the time, you know.
Now, you guys were awesome.
It's like, let's bring it to the ring, you know. And just turn the volume up, you know, make a joke out of it. That was the whole point of us doing it.
Right. Well, you guys definitely made a statement back in the days, I have to say. I mean, looking here at some of the stuff here, you know, May 21st, All Money Is Legal defeated the Hole Brothers along with Trilogy, Dan Barry, and Ken Scampy.
That was a good one.
Fatal four-way match. I mean, that shit was off the hook. Any memories from that match?
Man, that was I believe our second match.
Yeah, I believe so.
And NWA Cyberspace. Yeah. Man, we were ready to go, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna run down 9 matches.
That was 2005 was probably one of our best years.
Yeah.
As a tag team, man, because at that time, man, we were working for all at the same time, like Jersey All Pro, Chicago Pro, CZW. Then we had just came into NWA Cyberspace.
Yeah, New England Championship Wrestling, NYWC, Pro Wrestling Unplugged.
Man, we were for the biggest companies.
Bro, I did my homework on All Money's Legal and For Your Soul career, which we're going to get into, you know, eventually. I'm going to break it down from the beginning. So I'm going to go through some matches.
Great.
Yeah, it was great.
And that was a fun match, man. That match really like hit us on the map in NWA Cyberspace.
Put the wheels in motion.
After the match, if you remember, the fans was chanting "Title shot," after we won the match.
Right.
So that
just blew right up.
Just rose like
exactly. And
man,
that's what put you guys on the map.
Man.
You know, and then
that was a good match.
It was an awesome match.
I like that match a lot.
Yeah, me too.
Shout out to those guys, man.
Oh, all of them. And we're going to get into some more of these guys right now. June 24th of 2005, the S.A.T. unfortunately defeated All Money Is Legal. But then later in that night, we did a 2-day recording. And then All Money Is Legal defeated Julio De Niro along with Mo Sexton, who took CM Punk's place because CM Punk bailed on us. And then that's when I believe you guys became the new tag team champions.
Yes, sir.
That's correct.
I remember it like yesterday, man. That man.
So the story
I can still feel the goosebumps, man. That was.
Yeah, I mean, you guys were in the right place at the right time because if serve me correctly here with my memory, originally the Solution was supposed to wrestle that match, Abaddon and Havoc, and they were double booked.
But they did a double shot.
And you guys just happened to have been hanging out since you're the match. Yeah. You didn't go home, thank God, and you guys got put in. Take me through what happened.
Oh man, that was crazy, man. Because we will always stay to the end of the show, no matter what. You know, that's just the way we were taught. You know, watch all the matches, beginning to end. So, and we like to chill around in the locker room with the guys because we know a lot of the guys. The guys were cool.
Right.
That's the atmosphere and NWA Cyberspace. Like when you guys like the security guard, everybody was cool, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was like a party to us, man. So there was no problem for us to stay there. Like we wanted to stay.
Right.
Then I remember, I think it was I think Derek approached us and told us he didn't. I don't think he told us right then and there, but he pulled us into the one of the locker rooms,
Right.
and he was with what's his name?
Billy
The other
Firehawk.
booker.
Well,
No.
Derek was the booker.
Derek and
John Shane.
it was another. No, what's his name? It was another guy he was with. They were both the bookers at the time.
Oh, it may have been Dave Levy.
Yes, yes. I think it was Dave that approached us first. Then
Okay.
when we went to the locker room, Derek was there.
Right.
So it was the four of us. So then they basically like gave us the idea that
you guys are going to be going over tonight.
Yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
We was like, huh? We was looking at each other like, yeah, okay. Like,
and all the other boys were cool
like,
with that move. Like, how did the other teams feel about All Money is Legal becoming the new champs? Was there any animosity, any jealousy?
No. It was no, not at all. The funny thing is, one thing I do remember was Jeff Jarrett coming up to us and was like, "Congratulations, guy! Make sure you get double pay."
Right. That's right, because you wrestled twice. Good old Double J. Double J equals double pay.
I found that funny. Yeah, I found
that's
that
pretty
hilarious.
cool.
I was like, that's cool.
Yeah,
but man, like, the pressure was on, man.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you guys went from like opening acts to now the champs.
Yeah. And we had a great match with S.A.T. in the opening match, man.
Yep, I'm about to get into them as well. Jose and Joel Maximo, I happen to know pretty, personally because, we became friends from cyberspace. They had a school here in Brooklyn, and I used to go down there and hang out with them. Yeah. And a matter of fact, they were the last tag team champions. And since then, the titles have been missing. But that's another story for another time.
I was there for that whole situation. I was just shaking my head like, come on, guys, man, what are you doing? Like,
right. Well, the story goes they were going overseas, I think, and they wanted to represent NWA Cyberspace, which they were cool with. And then when we had asked for the titles back, when Cyberspace was no more, then allegedly they didn't have the titles. So that wasn't, my deal. I wasn't involved in that. I heard some stories here and there, but I guess that'll be for another time.
Yeah, when you have them on.
Yeah, exactly.
They're all making a comeback.
Yeah, no, I was looking on Facebook. I was looking on Twitter, and I told him, I said, you better make sure you come on my show, because if not, I'll be offended. But
they have to, man.
Yeah, no, they will. We'll get everybody on little by little. So basically, once you guys won the titles, then on July 30th of 2005, you defeated the S.A.T. by DQ. That's when they took the chairs and they decided that they couldn't hang with All Money is Legal, so they resorted to the chair shot. So that was a pretty wild ending. Yeah, that was cool. Then another great match. Too, man. How about the Solution? We got to talk about these guys. I mean, back on August 21st of 2005, you guys defeated them. You guys had a hell of a feud with the Solution. Take me back with those guys.
Man, this goes back to the Doghouse 2001.
Right.
That was our first tag team match that really got us moving up the ladder. Was against the Solution, believe it or not.
Yeah.
So ever since then, man, we've been going at it all over, man. Like WXW and Pennsylvania, man.
Yeah,
those guys,
we
learned a lot from them, man.
Yeah,
we learned a lot from them. I think those guys like Papa Don, Havoc, man,
yeah, I mean, Havoc
it sucks, man. I wish they were still a team, man.
Papa Don is still wrestling. I mean, he's still a singles wrestler. He's still kicking ass. I mean, the guy,
he's doing great, man.
He reminds me of like a Chris Jericho. He's always not to mention he's on my shirt, but he's always reinventing himself. That's what I love about Papa Don.
Sure.
If one thing isn't working, he'll turn the switch up. He'll change his look. I mean, he's in phenomenal shape.
That's how you do it, man. Man.
Shout out to him. He's really doing well. But their manager, John Shane. John Shane was a character.
Was so cool, man. I like John Shane. I always like John Shane. He was, man, throwback manager, man.
Yeah. It was a
so
comedy
cool,
with
man.
you guys. You guys had Tommy Stitch in your
Yeah,
corner,
we always mess with him.
and John Shane was in the solutions corner, and you guys with the
Yeah.
back and forth was hilarious. I mean,
Oh
a lot of great
man.
memories in cyberspace with you guys. I don't know if you can see, I got the
Man.
Shockwave banner still to this day. It's in the
Yeah, I see
background.
it, man. That's awesome,
Yeah, I
man.
got Billy's picture in the
I
back and some
miss
other
it.
stuff. Try to make a nice
So
little
cool,
background
man.
here for the show. But
It's dope. I like it.
yeah, thank you.
It's
So
awesome.
the last match I see with you guys was May 21st, 06. The Outcast Killers had defeated All Money Is Legal.
Yes.
And I believe they came out
Yeah.
of Jersey Old Pro Wrestling. They were a pretty good team. What's your history with those
They
guys?
was out of upstate. Oh man, another great team, man. We had a lot of good classic matches with those guys.
Yeah.
And we was really cool with them, man. Like they were awesome, man. Another team that I wish was still around and or like at least I wish they would have at least gotten a shot somewhere, like one of the bigger companies, on TV.
Right, right.
I think they was on their way to getting the shot, but I don't know what happened.
I'll tell you,
But
the
they
early
wound up,
2000s had the
leaving.
best wrestling, I think, for the indies.
Oh
The best
man,
talent. I
what?
mean, talent out of nowhere. I mean, you guys especially. When I first saw your opening match
Man.
against Trilogy,
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking to myself, you know what? Not to
Oh
diss
man.
either team, but I thought you guys were going to go
Mhm.
over that day because you had like
Yeah.
the way you guys gelled.
I mean,
But
we
Trilogy,
kind of
man,
did after the match when we attacked them.
yeah, exactly. That was awesome. Then you guys
I
did your
forgot.
finisher,
I forgot we did that.
the
Like
dead
until I
president
watched
move.
the match over.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
So
forgot we did that.
yeah, no,
I was like,
that's what I was about to bring up. So you guys did the finish of the dead presidents, which is like a flying X Factor into like a sit out wheelbarrow. The way one would grab one and the other guy just dropped them straight down.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you guys won the titles too, I think, using the dead presidents.
Did we? No, we won the titles with a roll up.
Oh, the roll up. Okay.
Yeah, because one didn't come out of like nowhere because it was after Most Texans his hot tag.
Right.
So he's like, it'll be better if we just get the quick win out of nowhere while he's on fire. So yeah.
Yeah, he came in place of CM Punk, and then shortly after that, Mo and Julio, they had a blow off match because Mo was going to WWE.
Yeah, Mo was on fire. I remember that.
He was.
Like,
I'm not sure what happened with him, but a lot of these guys, like Josh Daniels, he's now
he's still wrestling. Yeah,
I think he
Mo
is
still wrestling. He changed his gimmick though.
Yeah, well, you know what? It's good. It's good to change the gimmick every now and then. You want to be fresh.
For sure. Yeah,
like getting to
I like it. I like his new gimmick.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a fan of yours. I like your new gimmick.
Oh man,
and it's got to be huge in China. It has to be huge in China.
Oh yeah, man.
Because you're someone from the way they see you're from the hood. You're from New York. You got the boombox. You're a throwback '80s guy, and you have to stand out. Yep. I mean, you must get a lot of fans hung up to you. And it's probably better being there, I guess, than being in the States.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. From the money to
sure.
The work, because there was a time that I was wrestling twice a day, every single day in China.
Wow, that's how much you book. That's awesome. Yeah.
Man, in Japan, like there's shows every single day. When I was living in Japan, I was wrestling every day.
Yeah.
Like some months, so it's not like the States where it's just the weekends.
Yeah.
So you're lucky to get like a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday shot in the States.
Right.
Like in Asia, they don't give a damn. There's shows on the weekends, the weekdays.
During the week, right. Because over here, like you said, it's just the weekends. Matter. Right.
It's like the old territory days where there was wrestling every single day,
Right.
So that's one of the things I love about wrestling in Asia. So much work. I mean, it kind of slowed down now because of,
with COVID, right? That's what I was about to ask.
Yeah, but.
So it's like a smaller house show.
Like, yeah, I do like tapings for MKW and we do like 4 days of like multiple tapings. So I'm wrestling like sometimes 10 matches in like 3 to 4 days,
Right.
So
that's
like
awesome.
Old studio wrestling,
Right. So you basically do singles.
I
You basically do singles matches. What's the title situation? Are you in different companies or is it one main company?
Oh yeah. I work for different companies, but right now, due to the pandemic and all that, MKW has been the only company in China that's been running like semi-consistently.
Okay.
Because we do like multiple tapings because they have a YouTube show.
Right.
So their show airs every Friday on YouTube at 8 p.m.
So it's MKW.
So, yeah, Middle Kingdom Wrestling.
Okay, I'm gonna look that up.
So that's Yeah, that's my main company right now.
Okay.
So, but I'm freelance, man. I'm not under contract with any other company at the moment.
Right. That's what I was going to ask you.
I'm
So you're
about to
just
go
doing
back to,
wrestling.
yeah,
You're not working
yeah,
anything else. You're just working the gimmick and doing living the dream.
yeah, man.
That's
Living
awesome.
a dream, and as well as on the side, I do like voiceover work,
Right.
commercials, because my girlfriend,
Right.
she has a company, a clothing company. She's like, she went to school for directing, so she's like lived in the States, all these other countries, much like me.
Right.
So she's in the entertainment field.
Okay.
So she has her
Cool.
own clothing company that, we run together. So I do like voiceover work for her and like other companies
So you guys help each other
that
out.
she's
That's
helping out
awesome.
with. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
She's in like
cool.
social media marketing, and like she's like a jill of all trades. She's into a lot of different things. So I have that on the side as well, because wrestling isn't as consistent as I want it to be
Right. Right.
due to,
Because
what's
of this
going on.
pandemic,
So
it's ruining everything.
yeah.
Hopefully, we'll get to
But
the bottom of it, and we'll put a close to it soon. I'm hoping.
sooner than later, man. I'm ready to
Exactly.
get back on the road and travel.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Now, what
uh,
is Buffa's future now? Is he going to stick with wrestling? What if any acting gigs come up? Are you open to that?
it's crazy, man. Before, like, to go a little bit further into my childhood, like me and my brother, we never grew up wrestling fans. We didn't get into it until like 1983 when we were 10 years old. And people say 1983 is like one of the worst years in wrestling, but
Yeah.
that's what got us hooked. Ever since then, we wanted to be pro wrestlers. But prior to that, I wanted to be an actor.
Okay.
So fast forward now, I would love to do, some more acting, like as far as movies go, TV shows, things of that nature. But I won't take any role.
Right.
you know,
You don't want to take any role. Exactly. So not just
I
voiceovers,
don't
but
want to be the dog one or dog number two. Like, nah,
right. No, you want to have a main
I'll
credit.
pass on that.
Exactly. I don't
Yeah,
blame you. So not just voiceover acting, but
yeah.
you'd be willing to do something on the screen.
Oh yeah.
What about like commercials for
I've done
wrestling?
commercials, and yeah,
That's what I
I've
was
done
going to ask you. How
commercials
about that? Is that
outside
big
of
over there?
wrestling. Oh yeah, for sure, for
Oh, so
sure.
you've done
It
commercials
definitely
outside,
is.
not for wrestling, but for
Yeah,
other things.
yeah,
Okay.
outside. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
So,
cool, man. It's cool.
so like, would you
I
do
like it.
commercials for?
When I was in Japan, we did a commercial for Scotch tape.
Oh, okay, really?
Yeah, this was like years ago, like 2011 or something like that.
Right, right.
Then recently, I did a commercial for my girlfriend's side company where she basically sells like leggings.
Okay.
So I did like commercials for that, did photo shoots, and I was supposed to do a commercial and some voiceover work the other day, but it was raining like crazy out here.
Right, right.
For like these scooters that she's gonna be selling.
Okay.
So the scooters are a big thing out here in Asia. It's becoming a big thing in the States too. So I was set to do voiceover work for that and shoot a commercial for it as well. But
Right, right.
weather's been kind of crazy out here, the past few days. So I'll be back on that next week.
And I can tell that you've been seriously hitting the gym because not that I'm not saying you were puny during All Money's Legal, but bro, look at the
Oh,
guns on you
nah,
now,
I
man.
was. I
So
was
take me
puny,
through like,
man.
take me through the transition. Like what happened? You started hitting the
Oh
gym
man.
harder. What happened? Started eating more spinach. I mean,
We actually spent yeah for sure. Popeye diet.
exactly,
On that
man.
Popeye diet, man. Actually, like in 2005 is when we started to hit the gym hard. Because we used to like, there was this one gym across the street from
Right,
us that we used to go to. It's in the basement. So like the super of the building had like a few weights there. So we could go in there whenever it was open,
right, right.
not knowing what the hell we were doing. So we just hit the weights there. But we'd be in there like maybe once a month. Whenever we saw the door open, we'd go in and work out.
Oh, okay.
But
So
it'd be
you
so
just
random.
started by going in randomly, and
you
then
know?
you started getting like a workout
Yeah.
routine. And I'm sure you're maintaining it
Yeah.
now. Like take me through a day. Like
Mm-hmm.
what's your daily schedule like
Oh
besides
man.
wrestling?
But I'm gonna take it further back
Okay, go ahead.
because we started to hit the weights because at the time we're skinny, we're a tag team. And a lot of the guys would be like, man, you guys are so good. You have the psychology, you have the facials, you know how to tell a story. You're not like these other skinny guys just flipping around
Right.
doing spot fest. He's like, man, if you guys put on some weight, put on some muscle, man, like so many opportunities will open up for you guys. So we was hard headed at the time because we're still getting booked. You know what
exactly.
I mean?
So why do I got to change?
Like,
I'm doing great.
yeah, like our size isn't helping us back. But I'm like, man, we always wanted to be big, but we always knew that it's going to be hard work.
Yeah.
So we was just like, man, once we started like getting these opportunities with like, cyberspace with all these other big companies on the indies, we was like, man, let's change it up, man. We've been doing the same thing, looking the same for the past like what, fucking 4 years.
Right,
like, man, it's time to change. Because we always like to like reinvent ourselves, like whether it be our look, our moves, things like that. So we say, man, let's get a little bit bigger. Let's take this serious. So we started to hit the gym hard at that point. Then that's when we stopped wearing like the jerseys and all that.
Right. Changing it up a little bit.
Like, yeah.
So now your brother's pretty big now too, I take it. He got bigger also?
Yeah, he got bigger. Yeah. At one point, man, he was probably like maybe because I'm taller, he was probably like 10 pounds like lighter than me.
Right.
But he was big.
But he was pretty big.
Like a lot of the guys used to call us Ninja Turtles. Because we
I gotta be honest,
like,
man.
so big out of nowhere,
Yeah, when I saw your videos, I was like, wait a minute. Joke. That's the same dude from All Money Is Legal? And I'm like doing like a stare and compare.
Man.
And I was like, wow, man, am I impressed? He really hit the gym hard and took it seriously.
Man.
Major props.
You know what's crazy? Thanks, man. Like, being that I'm all the way out here in Asia, like, people, like, some of the guys didn't even know I was the same person.
Yeah.
Like, man, they're shocked when I tell them. I'm like they come up to me like,
are they looking like old press pics of you? Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, you should be in a tag team. I'm like, yeah, all money's legal. What? Like,
yeah.
They like so shocked, man. I'm like, damn, like,
right.
I knew we left our mark, but damn, I didn't know it went this far.
Oh no, you guys left your mark, and not to mention, let's just go through a little bit of this. New England Championship Wrestling. You guys held the tag titles once over there. NWA Shockwave, our company. You were tag team champs one time. NYWC, you were champs one time. Pro Wrestling Unplugged, you were 2-time champions.
Yes.
K-Murda.
Sir.
Pro Wrestling 01, the United National Heavyweight Champ. You were 1-time champ.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Huge accomplishment, man. That was my first belt as a singles wrestler, man.
That's what I figured. Right.
Oh,
and what's
man,
the title scene like over where you're at now? You guys, like, the company you're in has like a major champion, tag champions. Like, what's the setup like?
Just like in MKW, they have a world champion, which is Zombie Dragon. I'm actually wrestling him for the belt on next week's Blast Off, the TV show on YouTube that I just mentioned.
Yes. And when's that going to be exactly? What's the time in the date? Because I want people to watch it.
Next Friday is what? That's the 7th? No, the 8th, I think.
Okay.
May 8th. It's on Friday at 8 p.m. on
Well, you
YouTube.
send me the info and I'll put it up. So
I'll send it to you.
I want people to watch and be aware.
Yeah, that's a match that I'm having for their heavyweight title, not heavyweight, but world title on Friday.
That's awesome.
And I'm in the middle of a tag team tournament right now.
Oh, really?
They Who's your tag partner? Some tag team titles. DC Chen, my little protege.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So it's like an elimination.
China to New York. Yeah.
They call them what? Tiger what?
Like traditional tag team.
Okay.
China to New York.
Oh, it's for the title.
Yeah,
for the tag titles.
Yeah. So I think our first round match is, in 2 weeks.
Okay.
So the tag team tournament just kicked off.
Wow.
Last week.
So you got a lot on your plate, man. That's awesome.
Man.
You might be a dual champ. And now it's the same company or two different companies?
Yeah, same company, MKW.
So you have the opportunity of being a co-holder once again of a tag title and representing the heavyweight title. That's awesome. Man. That's awesome. I'm looking forward to checking out that match. You better keep me posted. And that should be awesome.
Sure, man. For sure.
That's awesome. So you guys, you were heavyweight champion Pro Wrestling 01. Victory Pro, you and K-Murda were 1-time champs over there.
Yep.
Let's see, World Extreme, WX Elite Tag Team Champs 1 time. WXW 1 time with Dizzy. Now, Dizzy was a third member of All Money?
No, it was Dizzy. Dizzy he's our cousin. He was a third member. We brought him in.
Okay.
Like, he was always around. But he was kind of like 1 foot in the business, 1 foot out.
So he was kind of like the Crush of Demolition.
There you go. but me and Murda was the tag champs.
Right,
But
right,
we brought him in just in case, because like I said, my brother had a side job.
right,
So
right.
if he couldn't make it to
Makes sense. Yeah,
the booking, I could pull in Dizzy. So that's why
exactly.
like you may see him as like
Right.
co-holder of the tag titles with me.
That's why I used
So
the
that was
crush
like
analogy.
he was like a backup plan, you know. But he
Exactly.
held a heavyweight title in 2CW up in Syracuse, New York. So
Really?
he had a good run, man. Yeah,
Okay.
he was man, he was so good, man. But he just wasn't that connected to the business, He
Right,
kind of like
right.
only did
You
it
seem
because
to
of
be the
us.
one. You were the standout. I mean,
And,
your brother would have
man.
probably been too if he didn't have responsibility. But you know what? Hats off to him because he,
Mm-hmm.
stepped up to the plate like a man,
Yeah.
handled his
Mm-hmm.
business. And if things are meant to be
Absolutely.
later down the road, he can always do some indie shows if he chooses.
That's
Once the
yeah,
kids are
for
grown up,
sure. Mm-hmm.
that all
That
depends.
was the whole plan. That was the whole plan. That's why he said, man, get your ass back to Japan, do
Right.
what I know you can do, and I'll
Experience.
come in when the time is right.
Yeah.
So trust me, man, he'll be back. He'll be
And
back. If it wasn't for this situation with,
right.
the pandemic, he would be here with me right now.
Really.
You know.
Now, let's just say,
I'm
for
just
argument's
I'm
sake, that he
setting the
was there.
stage for him.
Really? So now
Yeah.
you set the stage for him. Now take me through this. Let's just say your brother comes out to Japan. Does that mean that All
Yeah.
Money Is Legal is going to wrestle as a tag team in Japan, or he'll be a singles, or both?
Oh, hey, both. With that, like a
Yeah.
team number one, but if they need them for singles, like
So the
because even
opportunity.
when
Yeah.
because when we first wrestled in Japan, he was doing singles matches too, in
Right.
between doing tag. Because when Japan is different, they
Yeah.
don't just lock you in like tag team matches. You do singles matches, a lot of singles matches as well. So
See,
he's
that's
done
another
singles matches
difference.
in Japan. Yeah.
Yes. So there's a lot of difference between the American culture and the Japanese culture because, as you
Oh
know,
yeah.
here for the
Mm-hmm.
main part, like in the big leagues, either you're
Yeah.
representing a
Mm-hmm.
tag team, tag division, or you're representing a singles. Sounds like where
Yeah.
you're at, you guys can do either or, and it's not an issue.
Yeah, for sure. Like I'm like as you see with me having like the upcoming, world title match, I'm in a tag team right now,
Right.
pretty much. But I'm also like doing singles. DC Chen is also doing singles at the same time. So
like you have like multiple
it's like,
projects. Now,
yeah,
do you have a manager, or you just come out on your own with the
no,
boombox?
no. The manager is the boombox.
The
That's
boombox
what I
is the
always say. The
manager.
manager is the boombox. The boombox is no different than Frankie with Coco Beware, Damien
Exactly.
with
Exactly.
Jake the Snake, Head with Al Snow. That's the
So now,
boombox,
when
man.
you come out with the boombox, do you play a specific song or different songs, or you just hold it for the
I
effect?
used we used to have we used to play our theme music. Basically, we didn't have any like different song, like
Right.
whatever. Like for a while, we told them not to play our music over the speakers. We'll just have our music playing on the boomboxes. That thing gets loud as hell.
Oh yeah, those old school boomboxes have
So
sound, man. Trust me, I
yeah.
remember.
So we used to always come out with the music on our boombox, and
Right.
it would be our theme song.
Yeah, because I saw
But
the
now,
video.
yeah, man, I don't turn it on now because it's hard to get D batteries.
Oh,
It
okay.
requires 10 D batteries, and those are
Yeah,
so
man.
hard to
That's
get.
what I was about to bring up. They
And,
have. I remember that, a lot of batteries.
and even if you get them, that boombox is burns through these batteries like crazy.
Well, especially the fact you're wrestling 7 days a week and
Uh,
sometimes double
yeah.
shots. So can only imagine.
And another reason why I don't really like buy the batteries and like play it over the boombox is because a lot of the time nobody buys these batteries. So these batteries been sitting in storage for like how
Right.
many years? So by
Yeah,
the
the
time I
acid
get
comes
them and
out.
pop them in,
Yeah.
they don't even work. So I was just like, you know what? Whatever. It still works.
Yeah.
Everybody always asks me, does it work? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, it's a gimmick, man. It's an effect. What are you talking
It
about? Of
still
course.
works.
Of
I'm
course.
like, why you don't play? Like, give me 10 D batteries. And they're like, D batteries, what's that? And I'm
What's
like,
that?
yeah, exactly.
I guess
Like,
the only option would be Amazon, right? And that would be pricey.
yeah, Amazon. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
man. Like,
You know what? Play the
hey,
music on the intercom, come out with the boombox, start doing your thing.
yeah,
And you know what? They get caught up
hey,
in the moment, so it really doesn't matter
yeah, like,
because the
yeah, it doesn't
boombox is
matter.
representing the tunes, man. So that's how I look at it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I was just like, you know what, whatever, man. Like, I don't need to play any music off of it.
Yeah.
They got the visual.
Yes.
It's all about the visual. They
It's exactly the
understand.
visual, right? Speaking of the boom
Like,
boxes, I'll make you laugh. I'll tell you a quick story. Years ago when we
all
were
right.
kids, my best friend and I, he had two boom boxes and he
Oh
crazy
wow.
glued one on top of the other. And my man would hold that in Brooklyn on Flatlands or Flatbush, and he'd be blasting the
Yo,
same song out of both boom boxes. And that shit you can hear from blocks away. And I told him, I said, bro, they're gonna rob you for this
crazy
shit.
dude.
He's like, man, this thing
Yo,
weighs more
what
than me. He said, I'll hit him with it. I don't care. And he literally
was it like
crazy.
the flat, thick one, or like the one that I have?
He had the one that
A
you
little
had
like
on top, and then one on the bottom was a little
like
wider, had like the
yeah,
detachable
yeah.
type
I
speakers,
got
but
one
he
of
had them
those.
together.
Yeah, I have that one back home too, man.
Right. So one
I
was like
went through like
this,
5
and
boom
one was like
boxes.
that. And it was like a pyramid. It was
Oh,
two boom boxes crazy glued together. And you're hanging out in the
and it
hood in
didn't break.
Flatbush, man. Man, it was nuts.
Wow,
It was crazy.
wow.
You know.
That's insane, man. Because
Yeah.
I have that same boombox back in New York, man. Because always wanted the boombox I have now. I always wanted that, the Lasonic.
Right.
Always wanted that model boombox, but I couldn't find it. Once we decided that we was gonna take a more like old school approach to our image,
Yeah.
I was like, man, I want that boombox. Like, because I
That's
used to have it when I was
perfect.
younger.
Yeah, it's perfect for your gimmick, man.
And I
It's
couldn't
awesome.
find it. I was on freaking what was it? eBay at the time, looking for
Right.
boom boxes.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
could not find it. So I had like some little silver one. Not even that. I had like this little like portable boom box. The first time we came out with a boom box, it's like a little
Yeah, a
portable
little
black
tiny
boom box. It looked cheesy as hell. Like,
Right, right. So it
but we
wasn't that
had the
manly.
whole like, yeah, but we had the look because originally
I mean, with the radio
our look
didn't look too
was
manly.
yeah, no way.
Yeah.
But we had like the Run DMC look, like with
Right.
the hats, the
That's what I was going to
fedora
bring up. I
hats.
noticed you
That
wore
was
like the
our
Kangol hats with the
yeah, that was our
sunglasses.
first yeah.
Yeah, it reminded me of Run
That was our
DMC.
first look.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we was going for the Run DMC look with the shell toes without the laces in it.
Like
That's why when
the
you see me
Adidas,
wrestle, I
right?
always have the tongue out. Yeah,
Yeah, with the tongue. Yeah. I remember back in high school, we used to
always
wear the
wrestle
New
with the tongue out.
Balance or the
Yeah.
Nikes with the big ass tongues over the jeans.
Yes,
That's
yes,
some old
man.
school shit right there.
Classic,
Yeah, yeah.
classic, man. But it took a while. I went to like maybe like 3, 4 boomboxes before like we actually was able to
Found the
get
right one. Yeah.
the Lasonic. Yeah, and it was like this one was just a replica of the old school one, but this one you could picture iPhone in it and a tape deck,
Oh, that's awesome.
which was awesome.
Yeah.
Which was awesome. It was like iPhone 3 or something. You could put the iPhone like the
Bunch of songs you can put in there.
the Nano and all that, the little Nano.
Yeah.
You
Oh, yeah. The
understand?
Nano. Yeah, yeah,
That
yeah,
in it.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was perfect, man.
Right.
And I had that thing ever since. Like it's been like what? Man, how many years? Like 10 years. I had that boombox.
So the boombox has a
About
lot
10
of
or
wrestling
more.
miles on it.
Man, it has more stamps on its passport than a majority of the wrestlers in the business.
That's got to be interesting watching you walk through an airport holding the boombox.
Oh
And
man,
they must be looking at the check and saying, "What is this dude having this radio?"
man, it's a gift and a curse.
Yeah.
It's a gift and a curse. Like honestly, man, like because you get some like guards that are just like, oh wow, that's so cool.
Right. Right.
You have other ones like checking it like 10 times. Like one time, this was recent, like maybe like 2 years ago. One of the guards freaking, I had like about a half an hour window to catch my flight back
Right.
home. I think I was coming from like South Korea or something like that. And this dude just wanted to be an asshole, which like a lot of these guys are.
There's plenty of them,
these
man.
freaking guards,
Yeah.
So he goes in the room, comes back out, and he has like a little screwdriver. Dude opens up the boombox,
Oh shit.
takes out all the screws, opens. I'm like, this is the first time it's ever all these years with me traveling with
Never
all
happened.
these different things. Never happened to now. I'm like, yo, this dude's being an asshole. I gotta catch this flight in like a half an hour. Like,
And he's making
I'm
my
just
shit into
so
a jigsaw
angry,
puzzle.
man. Yeah, I'm like, and one of the screws is missing to this day. I'm like, yo, man, I'm so like at that point, I didn't care. I was like, yo, I'm gonna hit this dude. I don't care what happens. Like that's how angry I was, man.
Yeah. I feel like sometimes they do it on purpose to try to test you too. You know, that's what I feel.
Yeah. Oh, of course. So I have to keep that in the back of my mind too. Like,
Right.
oh, you're being tested. Like,
Yeah, because that happened to me
you
also.
keep that.
back in
You keep that
2011 it
mindset,
happened.
you'll be all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that mindset stuck in the back of your head would keep you from doing things that
Yeah.
you'll regret later on, you know. So
Yeah.
I'm glad it worked out.
I'm glad it worked out too, because it's the same thing happened to me when I got married in 2011. We were coming back from our honeymoon, and my wife got me this nice big mirror with some beer, like a beer saying, I think it was Budweiser, whatever it was really nice.
Yeah.
And the guy at customs says, "Oh, you can't bring this on the plane." I'm like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Well, I don't know what's into this and that." And they took it, and she felt terrible. And I'm like, "You know what?" I said, that son of a bitch, he took it because he wanted it for himself. And that's the thing. You were very fortunate that he didn't say, "You know what? We have to hold this radio because there might be something in here. It can be danger to the flight." And some scumbag could have taken the radio because, like you said, that boombox is unique. You know, you don't see someone around with a boombox in Japan every day.
At all.
So, you know, so thank God
I'm
it
the
worked
only
out
one
for
I've
you.
seen.
Yeah, for me, they took my shit.
Man, I was so angry.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's like a fear of mine, man. Every time I go to an airport, man, I'm just like, oh man, please let me.
I hope I don't encounter any problems.
Get through this
Let's just get me through.
Yeah, man. I've been. I'm gonna say lucky, but I've been fortunate.
Yeah.
To not have like really any problems with the boombox. You know.
So now, when you travel, are you traveling in Japan in general or outside of Japan?
Like
the flights
that you're basically travel like within Asia.
Okay.
Yeah, like Japan opened up the door for me in all these other Asian countries, man.
Yeah.
Because Japan would send us out on tour to like different countries in Asia, like South Korea, Myanmar, Nepal.
That's
like
awesome.
Zero would send us out. So I would like network with these guys, you know, build these relationships. So when I left 01 and I was living in Hong Kong and Macau,
right.
They saw me, they saw me in like Macau and Hong Kong, and they said, "Oh wow, you're still in Asia, like come on
I'm
back,
everywhere,
you know?"
man.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm there, man. So I built these relationships because of 01. So I give like, man, I know my relationship with 01 kind of ended on, I won't say really a bad note, but it didn't end as smoothly as I would want it to.
That you want, okay.
But I still give them like, man, all the respect in the world, man. Because if it wasn't for 01, you know, getting an opportunity with them, man, I wouldn't be right here.
Right.
I wouldn't be where I am right now. I wouldn't even be wrestling, honestly, man. Because when my brother stopped wrestling, I tried to hang on and do the singles thing on the indies.
Right.
Because I really don't want to. I never wanted to be a singles wrestler. You know,
it wasn't the plan originally because All Money's Legal were lighting it up. I mean, you guys, like I said, one of my personal favorites. I mean, I was so happy I had the privilege to watch you guys perform. I mean, it was cyberspace for me were great times, and I miss it to this day.
Me too, man.
And if you look in the background, I have all the flyers from all the old shows up here.
Oh wow!
So you know, it's like it was a great time for me in wrestling because for me personally, you know, I trained with Johnny Rods in 1992. And I wrestled on and off myself, but I knew I was never going to be anything big, anything huge. And then with the opportunity with cyberspace, I took it. And, you know, I was like just a backstage role, kind of like a goodwill ambassador, security. I held a lot of hats, but I'm very fortunate that I got to meet you guys and all the other greats that came, you know, through the doors. It was a great experience. And that's why I'm so happy to have you on today. Man. You know, reminiscing this and also talking about your current career, which is awesome. So you've been out in Hong Kong, Japan, like since 19 or before 2019, like the first year you went out there.
The first overseas experience I had was 2011.
Okay, 2011.
That's the first time, you know, we went to Japan.
Right.
That was the first time. And the crazy thing is, like, I was looking like it's always been our goal to, you know, wrestle in Japan. We always wanted to make it big overseas before we made it big in the States. Because we're from the States. It wouldn't be hard for us to make it big here. You know, let's make it big around the world, you know? So by the time we come back home, we have like the whole globe covered.
You get more, you get huge because you're overseas, man. You're making a name and then you come back with some cred, you know, and you got some clout. You come back and you're more blown up than you were. It makes total sense,
man.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't really happen that way as far as us as a tag team, which is cool because, you know, we started in 2001 once the Doghouse closed. in 2002, late 2002, we was just off and running, man, on the indies.
That's awesome.
And we was just blowing up year by year. So it was cool, you know, but we were set to, you know, moving to, you know, Japan. Like the owner 01 at the time was getting our work visas ready and all that. So, you know, situations happen. We was trying to like make something happen in the States. Like we was trying to get on TV, basically like TNA or
get your
WWE.
foot in the door. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, tag teams wasn't a big thing at that time. And for guys our size, it's like,
yeah,
it's gonna
be a
little tough,
man, with tag teams.
Know?
I grew up, you know, watching wrestling in the 70s and especially the 80s. Tag teams were just on fire as singles. You know, like I was, you know, being raised in New York, I was a then WWF fan. So watching all these tag teams like the Hart Foundation, the Bulldogs, the Killer Bees, Demolition, all these teams, Strike Force. I mean, there were so many teams that were hot, and then it died.
Woo.
And the only reason why I think it died because as a tag team, you're being booked as two guys and two other guys. It's more money in the booking, in the payouts.
So
I think they try to like crush that tag team, the amount of, you know, teams on a card to save money. That's my take.
I believe it, man. I believe it. We had a lot of, you know, situations where promoters were like, "Oh man, you guys are too expensive.
Right.
You know, we can't book you." I'm like, come on, bro. You don't have any tag team joining this show.
You need to have some tag matches. You have to have a little. It's like a layer cake. You need to have all different layers, and you need tag teams in there. So now,
it's not like we was charging a hell of a lot, you know.
Right. Like, just trying to get paid and get your foot in the door and you know, take it from there.
Man,
a lot of cheap bookers out there, man. But
that became a problem. That's why I was like, in 2014, I was like, I'm out of the States, because like to finish what I was saying about that, like after my brother left, you know, I tried to do the singles thing in the States. So I was like, let me hang on a little bit and try to make something work as a singles. Man, these damn promoters is booking me in tag matches with these other guys. And I told them, I said, I don't want to team up with anybody else. It's not my brother. I don't want to team up with anybody else. That's have me do singles, man. That's all I want to do is singles. I was in tag matches with different teammates. I was in these 5, 4, 6 ways and all this.
No history. There's like no unison. All money is legal is like a working machine or a working unit. You're getting thrown in different tag teams. There's no longevity. There's no background.
Man, it got to the point where I was like, yo, just have me in a boombox as a tag team.
Right.
And I just have like handicap matches against tag teams. You know what I mean?
Right.
I even pitched that. I was like, you know, man, like it was that bad, man. And things wasn't like panning out the way I was hoping.
Right.
So then that's when I contacted Japan. I was like, hey, I'm ready to go.
And that's what I was about to ask you. So from 11 to 14, you were floating back and forth. So now, like when someone takes a new job, they get nervous saying, man, I hope there's longevity. I hope I don't get laid off. Now to make a transition from the States to move, not just to go back and forth, but to move overseas. That had to be a real gutsy call on your part, because you're saying to yourself, shit, you know, I get a place out there. I hope I have steady work. What if I don't have steady work? Then I go home. Like, take me through what made you say, I'm going to go for this. Because you said you have no contract. So basically you went out there
at that time,
on a prayer. So take me through.
No, I got the contract. I got the contract because it's like the work visa. Your contract is within a work visa.
Okay.
If you have a work visa, you have a contract.
Oh, okay. Much, so you're covered that way. Okay.
Yeah. But the thing was, the reason why I didn't like jump straight back into Japan is because of that reason.
Right.
And I was like, man, I'm on my own now. I was like, yo, I would do singles matches here and there.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo,
big move.
I'm going back to Japan. Like, my cardio has to be on point.
Right.
Because the matches out there are hard hitting. They're fast paced, you know.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a different
you're
style.
working every day. Yeah. So I'm like, let me get myself ready, do these singles matches here. Let me prepare for it. Because I didn't like the first time I went to Japan, I didn't really like prep for it. I knew I was gonna have to do the dojo training, or the thousands of squats, push-ups, and all that.
Right.
I was like, yo, I want to test myself. So I'm not gonna try to, prep for that. I was like, I want to see where my conditioning is. So I went there in 2011, got through all the training in the dojo, the toughest training I've ever been through.
I was about to say, that must have been really hard. Yeah.
Man, never once threw up, never once gave up,
That's
throughout my
awesome.
whole time in Japan, So I was like, all right, I was confident in my, skills and ability. Like I learned a lot in Japan,
Right.
but my conditioner, I was like, yeah, I'm ready. But 2014, I'm doing tag matches. So I'm like, man, let me do these singles matches, get myself
Right.
ready, then I'll go to Japan. But I was getting so frustrated with the matches that I was getting booked in. I was like, man, I'm out of here. So
Okay.
I was just waiting for them to send me the work visa. And once it came through, I was like, I'm out, man. I didn't care about anything else. I was like, man, I've been doing this for what, 14 years right now. I'm like,
Right.
whatever happens, happens. Like it's nothing happening here in the States.
So
I
what
was like,
was
I'd rather
the
be
what
in
was the curve?
Japan homeless than stay here,
Right.
honestly.
So what was the
I'll
curve
get
that
on my
made you
feet.
stay? Because you said that you had some problems, you were going to be out of there. What what was the
Yeah.
turnaround that made you say shit's about to happen? I'm going to stay.
Oh man. Damn. I was kind of hoping, man, like I was gonna move down to Florida
Right.
and continue to, tag team with my brother. That was like honestly, because my mom lives in Florida too.
Okay.
So I was like, man, why don't I just relocate down there?
It'd be easier.
Let me
Right.
get
Right.
it. Yeah.
It's a good
But then
backup
like
plan
my
either
brother,
way.
yeah.
Yeah.
But he was ready. He was like, yo, I just need to like free myself of like wrestling right now, man. And focus on, you know, the next chapter of my life.
Yeah.
So he was kind of like, I don't know. So I was like, why don't you do singles? Because I spoke to a few promoters down there. I was like, I'm not going to be able to make it, but my brother's there, so he could do singles and all that.
Right.
So he was kind of entertaining the idea, but he was kind of like, I kind of knew he really wasn't with it. So I was just like, you know what? Let him do him
Right.
and let me go do me. So
So
that's when I was like, yeah, I'm going. I'm
yeah.
leaving the States.
So basically, in a crazy way, by your brother becoming a father and having a new
Mm-hmm.
responsibility, that was what
Yeah.
took you to a different direction to say, you know what, I'm going to try to
Yeah.
make it now as a singles out here in Japan
Mm-hmm.
because my brother's
Yeah.
got his own shit going on. So that's what kind of made you stay and made your course stay with Japan as opposed to going back to Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the crazy thing too is like I already had experience being on my own in Japan. Cause like I said, me and my brother were supposed to go there in 2011.
Right.
Now his second kid was born early before we were set to, go to Japan for the first time. So he stayed back and I went alone.
Okay.
But they had me teaming up with another guy, Havoc, from Pennsylvania, Allentown, used to be in WXW. So they had me and him as a tag team.
Okay.
So that's when they changed my name, changed my theme song and all that. So this was in like March, no, February. I was there from February to like April or something. I was there for like 3 months,
Okay.
but I would do like tag matches with Havoc. But then when Havoc left, I was doing singles. So later that year, that's when I brought my brother came over.
Okay.
Like in December, we did like a big tag tournament for like a month.
Right.
So I had already had experience being on my own in Japan. So that was like prepping me for, years later when I would
Right.
go back out there
Okay. And this
and
is a
be on my
different,
own again.
obviously a different Havoc, not the Havoc that I knew in
No, no,
cyberspace.
no. No.
He's
At the
retired.
time, it's funny
I
because,
think it was a different Havoc.
yeah, because
Yeah.
I found it hilarious because, this is WXW.
Okay.
So this Havoc was already there. And the solution wound up coming to WXW too. So the solutions Havoc would be called the Big Havoc. So we
Right. To
always joke
break it
with
up.
them about that shit. Yeah.
The battle of
Like
the
Big
name for
Havoc and Havoc.
supremacy.
Yeah. I'm like, why don't you guys just change your name? Like
Right. Right.
Big Havoc and Havoc. Yeah, we
Exactly.
used to always joke with him about that.
It's bound to happen. Sometimes you go into different companies and someone's like, yo, he's got my gimmick.
Yeah.
What's up with that?
Yeah,
But
like what?
yeah, speaking of names,
Oh
you
man.
had different names in the past. You went as, I think, the Chaotic Kid,
Oh
Chaos,
man.
Coolie K. Those names ring a bell?
Yes, man.
Is that
Yes.
from the
Young
beginning of?
and
He's probably saying, man, this guy did his homework. How does he know these names? So,
honestly, it was at first it was chaos.
right.
I was chaos with a Z and a K. My brother was Cash.
Okay.
Then he became Cash Man. I became the chaotic kid Chaos. Then he became Ludacash because everybody used to say he looked like Ludacris.
Right.
So they
Ludacris,
changed
right?
his
The
name
rap.
to
Yeah.
Ludacast,
Right.
you know. Then this was like all during the Doghouse. Then after Doghouse closed, that's when we changed the K-Murda, K-Pusha.
Yeah.
Then after our first tour in Japan, we came back. Then we changed the whole image to the House Party because
Right.
we're big
I was just
fans
gonna
of
bring
Kid
up.
and Play.
Yep.
Big fans of Kid and Play in the old
I was
school
too,
look,
man. House party
image, and all
movies.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the thing is, I wanted to go all in and get the big flat top and all that because we
Right.
had like the cornrows.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, I don't want to commit.
Yeah. He had
I was
that
like, I don't want
high,
to commit to
man.
that on. Yeah.
That was high shit,
Like,
man. It wouldn't fit my studio. That's all I know.
Yeah. I wanted to go all in, but I was like, I don't want to commit to that hairstyle on the
Yeah.
indies.
No, I like the look you got
Like, it's
now,
not
man.
something
It's
I want to walk
perfect.
around with,
Yeah, no, the look you got now, and it's got to be unique. I mean, not to sound funny or anything, but being in Hong Kong, Japan, I mean, you definitely have to stick out, and that's in your favor.
Oh man,
I mean, that's awesome.
Stick out like a sore thumb, man.
But that's a good thing.
It's awesome, but it also gets annoying, man, because you getting all these looks, and it's just like
that's what's gonna really.
I was just out today, man, like taking my dogs to get groomed.
Right.
And man, just the looks you get, man, it's just like, oh my, like, and these are people that see me like every day because I'm out doing cardio, and I'm like, yo, they look at me like they see me for the first time when they don't see me like how many times already.
I mean,
so that be like, I understand like celebrities always like talk about how, oh man, they all get upset about like saying, or they can't go out to the grocery store because people's looking at them. I feel them on that.
Right. You know what it's like. Yeah.
Because you don't know like their intentions. You getting these dirty looks and all this. And it's like, you don't know these people's intentions. So you always on edge, like, yo, like, what are you looking at? Like,
right. And you don't know what they're saying either.
Like getting, yeah.
Because they're speaking in their language.
Like,
that's what I was about to ask you. That must be like a rough transition
honestly,
too.
I don't even really want to learn the language that much, man. I know some of it, but I don't want to learn it fluently because I'm like, if I hear something, that's disrespectful.
And if you know what he's saying, that's going to
go off.
Yeah. And the last thing you want to do is piss off a wrestler.
Best I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And two, and like, I get into a fight out here, I'm going to jail. Like, I'm a foreigner. You know,
and you know what, man? Like, think before you do that, bro, because you have your career ahead of you. You're doing great.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You look great. You're in great shape,
man.
So don't give them the benefit of the doubt and do something stupid.
No way. I just brush it off, man. Like,
right.
Like my girlfriend is a foreigner too. She's Singaporean, you know, but she understands like the language fluently. So she be going off on people like, cause she know what they're saying. You know what I mean?
So when you guys are walking together. So when you guys walk together in public, did they give you like looks and saying, "Oh, you know, what is she or what is he doing with her or you know whatever it is"?
I feel it, man.
Really?
Like I don't know if they're saying
it's 2021 and this shit is going on. It's ridiculous.
Exactly, because they looking at her like she's a foreigner too, so she's getting it too.
Right.
You know, and she's just like, oh, she's just like so over it, and I'm like.
So I guess being there has its perks and it has its disadvantages. Like anywhere else in life. So there's no difference.
Exactly.
But the good thing about being in Japan is the payout, the payday, the booking of the matches, the unique look.
And this is the thing. Japan isn't like that. China, mainland China, where I'm at now in Shenzhen, because I'm not in Shanghai right now. I used to be, but I moved. I'm in Shenzhen. So the crazy thing is, in Hong Kong, they call Hong Kong the New York Asia. Hong Kong is like they so laid back.
Right.
Yeah, I love Hong Kong, man. Like it's so laid back. Ain't nobody looking at you weird. You know, they're used to foreigners. They're foreigner friendly.
Right.
Everybody's just cool, laid back. Nobody's really in a rush to get anywhere. You know, you got the big buildings or the lights, so it's cool. But when you cross the border to mainland China, it's a little different. You know.
Really. So my guess is if Hong Kong were to book you more, you had more opportunities as opposed to Shenzhen, your home base would be in Hong Kong.
Yeah, it was for a while, man.
Right. You told me you left the company, right?
Yeah.
Now
I left 01.
Right. You said it was a little shaky on the exit. Now, if you don't want to talk about it, that's fine. Yeah. But my question is, do you think the door is open for the future, or is it like a shut door where it was that bad of an exit?
Nah, I think it's open.
Okay.
The door is open, but I stopped even entertaining it, honestly, man.
Yeah.
I really did, because I I was doing okay. Like I would like after I left 01, I would go back every year and just do indies.
Okay. So
I would have
zero
worked for
one is the
01. I
main
would
one
just do
out there.
indies. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So
That
you
I
have
was working
zero
for.
one,
Yeah,
and then you have like indies
hmm
surrounding it, which would be considered like an
yeah,
extra payday, but not your main source
yeah,
of income. Okay.
yeah. hmm
And
So I would just like go and do indies, and
gotcha.
I wouldn't like reach out to them while I was there. And thing. I've seen some of the guys, like some of my trainers and stuff like that. Like
Right, right.
they would come and do like shows in Taiwan that I was booked on. I would see them there. It
Wow,
was
you're
all
everywhere.
cool.
Impressive.
Yeah,
Uh,
but I just didn't reach out. Like I would go back. I would go back. I'm not saying I wouldn't. I would,
right.
but it's up to them, honestly. Because I
So you're
reached
open
out
to it. Okay.
because
It's up to them.
because I didn't leave on bad terms. Like I was there for like 3 years straight,
Right.
and they had changed owners. And there was a lot of stuff going on too. Like when I wanted to be like, I wanted to like do more. Because in Japan, like they loan out wrestlers to other companies to represent the company and stuff like that. They
Right.
get guys freaking like TV work and stuff like that. So I was like, I want to do more. Like, I don't want to just be like a wrestler just doing
Right.
all these shows. Because I was on every show. I would go to schools and do like anti-bullying like
Right. Right.
campaigns and stuff like that.
That's awesome because
Like
you don't want to be one dimensional.
doing,
You want to have you want to be
yeah.
diverse with your character and different opportunities
hmm
and not get stale.
And
That
I
makes
love
sense.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. I
Absolutely.
loved going to the schools and meeting the kids, eating lunch with them. Then we would like do like squats and stuff like that with the kids. It was
That's
cool. I
awesome.
loved it.
Yeah.
So I was like, this is cool.
Yeah,
But I
man.
wanted to do more. I'm like, yo, man, I stick out like a sore thumb. Why aren't you guys using me to your advantage?
Take advantage. I was about to say the
Like,
same thing. Exactly.
come on. I want to work. I want to do all these other things, man. And I felt like they kind of kept me handcuffed a little bit, you
Right.
know?
Right. Right.
It wasn't really like putting me out there as much as I wanted to
Did
be.
you
I'm
want
like, I
right.
want to work, man. I'm representing you guys. Like, why are you holding me back?
Exactly. It'd be a
Then
win-win.
like,
They're making money. You're making
yeah,
money. So MKW,
exactly,
they
man.
see the big picture in that where you are
Yeah,
now,
they do.
or
They
more
do,
so.
but
Yeah.
it's a little different, man. With like, it's a different situation because with MKW, they're like a smaller company.
Right. Right.
Like 01 is backed by a bigger company,
Right. They're
you
like the
know.
WWE in Hong
Yeah,
Kong, and
and in Japan,
MKW.
01.
Okay, zero
Yeah,
one's in Japan. MKW
yeah,
is in
01
Shenzhen, where you
in
are.
China. It's in yes,
Okay,
it's in China.
in
Pretty much,
China,
it's in China. MKW is
right?
in
And that's
it's
where
in
you are
China.
now in China, obviously.
Yeah, it's like they they get it, but it's like they're not doing really like there was opportunities for me to do certain things outside of like MKW,
Right.
but situation like I told you, me breaking my nose, I couldn't do it because I was like, man, I gotta get this thing under control, man, because it was like the match on Friday, next Friday is when I break my nose again, and this is like the fifth time
Oh,
I
you
broke
told
my
me right. We were
nose.
supposed to do it a few weeks ago. And that's when you
Yeah.
broke your nose. Right. Right.
hmm
How you feeling now? You
So
healed up?
yeah, but I mean, it's like
Because it
people
looks
ask
good
me
on
that. I'm
screen
like,
right
man,
now.
yeah, it's like a little
Yeah.
like right here. It's like,
Yeah. So
but
what
it's been
happened?
broke.
One of the
It
punches
was
was
already broken.
too
It
stiff of
was
a
a kick.
punch. Yeah.
It was a kick. I didn't turn
Oh,
my
it's a
head in
kick.
time. It's like head
Oh
on.
man.
Like that's gonna look crazy on
Yeah.
camera because it was right there in front of the hard camera.
Right. Right.
So that's gonna be hell of a visual when
Yeah,
you
well, to
see it.
everybody out there that says
But
wrestling is fake, kiss my ass because it's not. Damn it, the
yeah,
bumps, the hits are real.
man,
I
I
would love to
wish,
put these
man,
doubters in the ring for like 5 minutes just to show them, man, stretch their
man.
ass and teach them
I
a lesson.
always say this. I wish it was as fake as people say and
Oh
think it
yeah,
is.
because then there'll be no injuries.
Honestly,
Yeah, people like that, they're just ignorant, man. They don't get it. And
yeah, man. But they'll never like step in the ring and
exactly,
let you slam them.
let's do a
Like they don't
collar and
even have
elbow
to let
tie
you
up.
slam them.
Yeah,
Yeah, like even if they try to fight it, they'll get dropped. Like you
exactly.
never see none of like they say, oh, it's fake. It's like okay, come to the ring. Like let me give
That's
you a
right.
body slam,
That's right.
or just take a simple bump. You
Yep.
never see them do it.
a simple back
Right, but
bump
it's
or side
fake.
bump. Man, let me tell you, when I was being
Yeah.
trained,
Like, come on.
I was skinny. And I was like all money's legal
Yeah.
skinny when I first started. And when I hit the ropes, man, I had bruises all over my
Yeah.
shit. It was horrible.
Oh
But I
man.
stuck it out. But, I remember that.
Yeah, it's tough, man. It's so tough, man.
So now
It oh,
it is. So now
I survived.
with your physical regime that you have in China now, is finding the right foods, a challenge? Because it's got to be different eating out there compared to here, or do they have like
Man,
chains that has food that we're accustomed to, over here?
it was it was harder in Japan, honestly, to eat
Yeah.
because they're like in Asia, they're very carb heavy.
Okay.
So in Japan, like the portions are super small.
Right.
It's hard to get like a good sized chicken breast out there. And if you do
That's what I was
find it,
figuring.
it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
super expensive because Japan is. I lived in Tokyo. I was living in Tokyo when I was, in Japan. So Tokyo's super expensive.
Yeah. Wow.
So
Impressive,
man,
man.
it
You've
was
been
hard.
everywhere. That's awesome.
But the good thing about Japan, like if you're eating out, it's hard to find good portions of protein. Like 7-Eleven, they sell like the chicken breast
Okay.
in a plastic bag, but it's like super like sodium ridden. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's good, and you got like the egg whites and stuff like that. But it's like this
Yeah.
is
Because I
like
figured it's gonna be hard to stay
after a
big.
while, you're just like,
Yeah.
yeah, it is. I lost a lot of weight out there,
Yeah. Because
but I gained a
me.
lot because drinking and all that partying.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like what
But
now?
man,
So now partying,
it was tough.
you're like a beer drinker kind of guy or a mixed drink kind of guy?
Man, ah, I don't think you're gonna. I don't think you would guess what I love.
Try me.
It's not beer.
Okay.
It's not beer. It's not hard liquor.
Okay.
I like, and it's developed in Japan. This developed in Japan. Like my thing is red wine.
Okay. Nothing wrong with that.
I'm a red wine guy, man.
Yeah.
Red wine guy. Like I got turned on to red wine because one of my friends that wrestles, Sean Guinness, he was with me in Japan. He's from Ireland.
Okay.
So he was big on red wine. And I was
Right.
like, I tried it before, but I didn't really like it. Like I was a beer drinker.
Yeah.
I like the beer. Like my favorite drink, like hard liquor, is vodka.
Okay.
That's my favorite. I like the beer, like the Coronas and like the Japanese beers are pretty damn good.
I know one Japanese
So,
beer, Sapporo. I remember when I was younger. That can that comes in like you can barely crush it.
oh man,
They still have that?
so good, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
I love Japanese beer.
Okay.
I love Japanese beer, but red wine that's my thing.
That's your
That's my
go-to.
thing right now.
Okay.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
a
man.
Beck's guy myself.
Red
I
wine.
like Beck's. I
Oh
like the
yeah,
German beer, yeah. And I got the
yeah.
proof over here, so
Yeah.
But
I pretty much I like anything. I'll drink pretty much anything. Like
right.
I'll drink so many different things, man. Like living in Japan because sponsors.
Right.
Like if it's not for the sponsors in Japan, a lot of these companies wouldn't run.
Really?
And we will always have to like go to these sponsor dinners after the shows. And
Okay.
drinking like that's just the culture. They drink hard. You will see businessmen and business suits laid out on the floor in Tokyo every single night because they're so drunk and wasted, just on the floor, like
drinking like shots of sake or something else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everything, man.
Wow.
It's insane, man. You'd be out looking like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Like, you got this suit on.
My man's in a
he's
suit.
on
He
floor,
sprawled
like,
out all screwed up, looking like what the hell happened to him.
it was wild seeing that, man. But when we would do these sponsor dinners after the shows, man, they're just like, drink, eat.
Right.
Because they look at us like, we're the foreigners, we're the big foreigners, so we could drink a lot, we could eat a lot.
Okay.
So it was a competition, man. Like
the
the
best of
Japanese
who's
guys
who.
be
Yeah, who's the
challenging
tougher
you.
one?
Yeah.
So now in the locker room,
man.
is there a lot of camaraderie where you guys like hang out after the show, go out for dinner, talk about your matches?
Oh,
is
yeah,
there like
it
a
is.
friendship thing
It
outside
is.
the business?
It is. And it depends on the guys, man.
Right. Or you just
at the
hang out after the
time,
shows, like on a regular basis if you're not wrestling. Say like
Nah,
you're off
not
on
really.
a day, you guys aren't gonna like get together, discuss
Sometimes.
future matches.
Nah, we would never talk about the matches after the show. That's one thing I like about Japan. They don't care about what's going on in WWE or anywhere else. It's all business with them. You won't hear any talk about WWE. You won't hear any talk about any other company for that matter. Or you won't hear anything about New Japan or
just
like,
discussing within your circle.
Business within the circle. Like what's going on here is the only thing that matters. And I love that.
Well, that's awesome because you guys should be focusing on your company and getting it built up even more than what it is, because they always say you always want to leave your mark and leave it better than what it was originally. And if you hear barking in the background, I apologize. That's upstairs in my house.
Cool. I have two dogs and a cat, so I already know what know to deal with that.
So that's going to get edited out eventually before I put this back on.
leave it in.
We'll leave it in. We'll see what happens. You know, this is your interview, so you're in charge. You want to leave it in? We'll leave it in.
Hey man, leave it in. It's cool. I love the dogs, man.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they're Napoleon complex. They're little shits with an attitude.
Man, I have a little Chihuahua.
Okay.
They
have the biggest attitude.
Crazy.
I can imagine.
Hey, you know what's crazy? Me and him have the same birthday.
Really?
January 20th. Yeah. And he's like old, man. He's like 100 years old.
Really?
This Chihuahua in dog years. He's 100 years old. God bless.
Yeah,
man.
Still so you're January 20th. Man. Okay, that's cool. My wife is the 19th, the day before you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's cool. So I can always remember your birthday now.
Yes.
We'll have a birthday podcast for you. Maybe next time you can bring the boombox on also.
I was going to have it in the background, but I was I don't know where to kill it.
Well, we'll try to hang it up somewhere in the background for the next podcast.
Yeah, I'll bring it next time for sure. I got it right here. I got it tattooed on me.
Oh, that's awesome. I see it. Yeah. That's cool. So I got a couple of inks, myself. You know, I got my I don't know if you can see it. It's my cross from my wife.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I got
that's kind of like mine. That might be the same cross.
Wow, that's awesome. Look at that. Let me see if I get it in the camera here. I'm turning it the wrong way.
Yeah, I see it.
I'll send you a pic of it. But I like my ink. Yeah. Always have. I mean, it gives you some character. And with your look,
I got this
awesome.
One recently.
What's that represent? Fighting Spirit. Nice. That's awesome.
I got this like a few months ago.
Okay.
Out here.
Yeah, you guys had tattoos back in the days when All Money Is Legal.
Oh, yeah.
You guys were already inked up. Yeah.
Yeah, we were. Yeah. Like 2005. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
I think I had, this was my first one. The cross was my first one. And AMIL right here. We both have this.
That's awesome. Well, once you get one, there's no such thing as just having one. Then you want to start experimenting, getting other stuff.
It's so hard, man, not to. So hard not to. I got this one right here, the koi fish.
Oh, that's awesome.
I got this one in Shanghai.
That's a big piece. Yeah.
Yeah.
And every tattoo tells a story, man. That's what makes it really cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, like All Money Is Legal. That's like right from the heart. So that has meaning to it.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, that's where you guys started out, and look where you are now. It's awesome. And speaking of the Buffa character, how did you come up with the drop kick flip? That is like it's so smooth.
You know,
I love it.
It's such a simple story, man. Like, cause I kind of at one point, like, we were so against being called spot monkeys.
Okay.
At the time, because that was like a big thing at the time. Oh, this guy's a spot monkey. Like, a lot of the veterans would look down on like a lot of the guys coming up.
Right.
So when you first see us, like, oh, these guys are skinny. I bet they're spot monkeys. I bet
they label you right away. Right.
So we're like, no, because that wasn't the way we were trained. We knew how to do the flips. I could do the shooting stars, the 630s, the freaking 450s. I could do all that stuff. But I was more focused on being looked at as a good worker.
Correct. That
was our main goal was to be looked at as good workers, having other workers want to work with you, having promoters want to book you, So that's the reputation we got. So we were so against like doing the flips and all the spots and stuff like that.
Right.
So it got to a point where I was like, I want to do simple things, but add a little twist to it
and have some meaning to it. More. See, that's smart. Mm-hmm. You can do the flips and incorporate that, but you want to do a build.
Yeah.
You don't want to do 1,000 flips because in the 1,001 for the pin has no meaning.
Yeah,
Like you guys with the
exactly.
S.A.Ts, sometimes you guys would be on the top turnbuckle and do some crazy shit, flipping into a pin or just taking the
Yeah,
bump. But you guys weren't doing that throughout the entire match. So when you did
nah,
make it
no
happen,
way.
it meant something.
Hmm.
You know, that's
Yeah,
what I loved about All Money Is
absolutely,
Legal
man.
and the S.A.Ts. They weren't like completely flipping from
Man,
bell to bell. They
yeah,
did
no
it when it made
way.
sense. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And
And we
that's
learned
what
a
made it
lot
great.
from them, man. Like
Yeah,
I got to give them a lot of credit. They took us under their wing at that point.
right,
You see like matches with them and other guys, it might be super spotty and stuff like that.
right,
But when they worked with us, it was kind of like a mix of old school and new school.
right,
You know, we didn't go out there and just do a bunch of spots and have like a freaking spot fest. And the
right,
crazy
right.
thing is, a lot of times, like some of these promoters wanted us to go out there and do those type of matches. They'd be like, "Oh, have a car crash," and we're like, "Huh?
Yeah,
What makes you think
exactly.
we want to go out there and have a car crash? That makes no sense."
Exactly.
But
It
it's like,
has to make, that's the thing. Like you just said, it has to
it's
make
like,
sense. I mean, back in the day when Jake set up the short arm clothesline, he give you the
oh,
DDT,
it was,
you were
yeah,
done. Now these guys are getting
it's
head
over.
spiked off the top rope DDTs and they're kicking out at two. I'm like,
Oh,
what do you got to do to get the three count?
man.
Shoot the dude. I mean, it's crazy, you know. But let's
Might
do.
as well shoot them.
I'm going to do a little word association. I'm going to mention a tag team and tell me what comes to mind when I mention the tag team.
Cool.
Trilogy.
Whew. Our first match in NWA cyberspace.
Yep.
Honestly, man, if that match didn't go as well as it did, we probably wouldn't have been back.
Right.
So major shout out to those guys. We were cool with them. I still talk to Camaro.
Chris
Actually,
Camaro. Yeah.
he saw the a fan saw the video that I posted. I posted like a clip from that match a few
Okay.
days ago.
Okay.
And a fan saw that and tagged him in it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Then we wound up talking on the message and stuff like that.
Right.
So that was cool, man. And our second match was freaking just as good. The second match we had with them.
Yeah, because you guys had a couple of matches with Trilogy. Yeah.
Yeah,
and
like
Kid
three.
Makazi, look at him.
Makazi
he was a seamstress with
yeah.
WWE, and he wound up marrying Sasha Banks. I mean, that's crazy.
I didn't even know that was him.
Yeah, me neither. I was like, wait a minute, he looks familiar. I'm like,
a little
while that's the dude
ago,
from Trilogy. Yeah, I was bugging out when I saw that.
Oh wow.
Like, here's another.
Cool, man. Yeah.
It is cool. It's just crazy how like your life is coursed out. Like you don't plan what's going to happen. Because I'm sure 15, 20 years ago when you started in the business, you know, if someone told you, oh, in 15 years from now, you're going to be living in Taiwan, you're going to be in Hong Kong, you're going to be in China, you've probably been like, bro, we're just trying to get our feet wet right now. You know, what are you talking about?
But you know what? You know what's crazy? Like, I envisioned all of this
right
beforehand. Everything.
So you had you saw the big picture.
Yeah. This is everything I wanted to. I wanted to live in Japan, move to Japan, and travel all over the world. You know, wrestling. And I made it happen, man. It was all here before it happened, man.
But you know what? You dream big.
Beats the pavement, it happened.
Yeah, you have the drive. You can do it, man.
Yeah, man.
All right, here's another team.
It took a little while, but
you know what though? Good things come to those who wait. So nothing wrong with that.
Patience.
Patience is a virtue, my man. All right, how about the Hall brothers?
Man, the Hall brothers. I'm shocked they didn't go further, man.
Yeah, they reminded me of like a Rogers.
They had it. Yes, man. They had the look.
They had the skills. Twins. I
like, I think we seen them like maybe a few years after that, but I think it was kind of like when they was like in and out. Yeah. Like that was 2005. I think we maybe seen them 2007 somewhere.
Yeah, 2005, I would say. Yeah, because you guys wrestled on May 21st of 05. Yeah. And again, go to Midnight Hustle, you'll see the clips. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Check it out.
Yeah, next time we'll get Die Hard Derek on here next time.
Yeah, oh, that'd be so cool.
It would be awesome. What about Ken Barry and Dan Barry rather? I'm sorry, and Ken Scampy. Team Tremendous.
Oh man, we had some good ones with them too, man.
They were outside of dudes.
NWA cyberspace. Yeah, they were cool, man. Because we go way back to NYWC. Because the first time we wrestled in NYWC, was in I think it was 2004. We would go we would be back and forth.
Yeah,
through NYWC, but yeah, we worked with them back then, man. So we just gelled, man, when we got to cyberspace.
Yeah, they were good workers.
Dudes, man.
Yeah, Ken Scampy's retired now. Dan Barry He
Yeah.
was wrestling part-time and he was doing stand-up comedy out in Long Island. But
Yeah.
with the
I saw
pandemic
that.
going on, there's like very
Ah,
few far in between, because a few years ago I
yeah,
tried
it
stand-up
is,
comedy
man.
myself, and I was doing
Oh
open
yeah?
mic and I enjoyed it. It's a lot of fun. But with this
Nice.
pandemic, man, there's like very
Oh, it
few
shuts
chances
everything
now.
down, man.
Yeah,
Oh,
it is.
it sucks, man.
All right, one of the main teams I haven't, well, two main teams I haven't mentioned yet. We'll start off with the Solution. What comes to mind?
Oh man. Our first ever tag team match.
Yeah,
Doghouse in Brooklyn, New York. Man.
my hometown.
Woo. That match, I remember that match right there, man. Ah, man. Man,
Physicality,
the
a lot of stiff shots because I
butterflies.
know Havoc could throw a
Yes.
punch. He gave me one time
Oh yeah. He
when I was
can.
doing the security
And,
role.
mhm.
Yeah, I felt it.
And Papa Dawn with his kicks.
Oh, yeah, he's got them kicks. That's right, those
Man,
killer kicks. Yeah,
the pressure was on, man. We were like, this is what we wanted.
right,
This is
right.
what we dreamed of. Like,
Be careful with what you
let's
wish
make it
for, right?
happen, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, man. Especially there, man, because we could get into stories about that place, man.
yeah.
Getting initiated and all that. Like that was our first test.
See if you can pass
Because
the
we would
test. I was
have to
about
do
to say
like,
that.
yeah. Because in the doghouse, like with new guys, we would have to do like 10 battle royals before we had a singles match. Now, in these battle royals, all the vets would be in the ring and they would just chop the
Yeah,
out of you,
and
man.
meanwhile, in a battle royal, correct me if I'm wrong, you're not supposed to really take any big bumps. You're not supposed to get
No,
slammed, correct?
that's one thing I learned there. It's like
Yeah,
no bumps,
right.
unless it's like what, 4 guys in the ring or something like that. But man, like we had to go through like 10 battle royals before we got that singles match, and it
Until
was
you get
against the
that singles match,
Solution,
right? You have to prove yourself,
and against the Solution.
right? Of all teams,
So it was like,
talk about an
like
initiation.
goddamn,
Yeah,
like man, but it was good, man. Like that match opened up doors for us there, man. They can
that's
say,
awesome.
oh, you guys got potential, man. Like we could do something with you, and
Yeah, I mean, you
just
guys
went
didn't
up
just
from
kick
there,
the
man.
door down; you kicked the door off the hinges. You guys made a statement,
Yeah,
and you guys kicked ass, and it was great.
we
Last tag
had
team,
to, man, and
you
we
know,
had to, man.
no, yeah, you
Definitely.
had no choice, but you guys, you pulled it off.
Yeah.
You were at the right place at the
Mhm.
right time, like we discussed earlier. When you had the
Oh yeah.
Solution had the double shot, you hung out behind the curtain,
Mhm.
and the next thing you know, you guys are
Yeah.
in the main event, winning the tag titles.
Yeah.
That's a total
Ooh.
Cinderella story, man. That's awesome. I mean,
It is,
you couldn't
man.
write
It
it
was
any better.
awesome.
You know what I mean?
Nope.
And
Oh
last but
man.
not least, the S.A.Ts. Going back to
Oh
Jose and
man.
Joel Maximo. I mean, you guys, the four of you guys, to me, before you answer that, were the true
Mhm.
innovators of, not just like, I'm not saying
Yeah,
spot monkeys,
man.
I'm saying just the innovative flips, the moves
Like
that had a meaning to it.
innovative tag team.
Innovative tag team wrestling. There you go.
Yes, man.
That's the terminology.
Like we were fans of them way back. Like they had a run in the doghouse.
Right.
So when we first saw them, we was like, holy like these guys are super dope. Like
Yeah.
they're doing things that we thought about doing.
And it
But
shows
they're
that
actually
it's
doing
making
it.
sense. Yeah, yeah. Because
Yeah.
you guys had similar
So
minds for that kind of move set.
yeah,
Yeah.
man. And this is like 2001. So like we would be there training, and S.A.T would stop by like sometimes, or they would do like some of the doghouse shows and see us. So
Right.
they took a liking to us, and they pretty much like took us under their wing, man, and recommended like us to like different companies and told the promoters like book us against them. It's gonna be
Right.
great. So we owe a lot to them, man. Like we got really tight with them too, man. We
Yeah.
would travel all over with each other, man. Those dudes are hilarious, man.
Can only
They're
imagine the
like,
road stories there.
ooh, man. I can't even say that. Offline we could talk about it, but
No
I'm
problem.
not gonna.
Totally understood.
But yeah, you could just imagine like
Yeah.
the times we've had, man. But those guys, man, innovators, man.
Definitely.
Innovators. Like
I mean, the miles, the
what you see
journey.
now is what they was doing, man. Like
Yeah.
they're probably one of the most accomplished tag teams in like wrestling, honestly, man. Because At that time, these guys were wrestling everywhere: Japan, Mexico, England,
Yeah.
like WWE, and like, oh man, those guys are so good, man. And a lot of people looked at them as spot monkeys, but these dudes,
Nah.
they knew how to work, man.
They knew how to work it and when to
They
use
knew
it.
how to.
Yeah.
Their mat wrestling was on point. Their lucha was on point. But it's just like some of the guys they would work would try to like match their style, but didn't know how to do it correctly because it wasn't trained in that style.
Weren't trained properly. Right.
Yeah, so they would like bot spots with them, and they would make S.A.T look bad. And
yeah.
So it was like a big styles clash with like a lot of the guys he was working. So it kind of made people look at them like, oh, they wasn't as good as people said. But nah, we've been in the ring with them like.
It's good to hear from somebody because I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah. We train with them. We work with them. We know how good they are. You know what I mean? Like, look at our matches with them. Like,
oh, off the hook. And and that actually brings me to a good question now. I want you to tell me the pros and the cons and the differences between indie wrestling back in the early 2000s, you know, when I had the pleasure of meeting you guys, compared to the indies of today.
Man. Oversaturated. It's oversaturated, man. Now it's oversaturated.
Yeah, I honestly
agree. Like, I'm not on the indies anymore, so I can't.
Do you like keep up with the indies of today, or?
I try not to, man. If it's in my news feed and I come across it, I watch some of my boys. I watch their matches and stuff like that, but I'm not like watching like all these companies and all these different guys. But from what I see, it's oversaturated. There's no creativity. It's a bunch of, like forced comedy.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of that either. Yeah.
Comedy wrestling, it's all forced. Like, they're not funny. Like,
it waters down the product.
Yeah, you got all these guys wanting to do the freaking hardcore, and it's like, oh, these guys don't even look like wrestlers. Like, there's so many things I go into, man. Like, back in like 2001 to like 2010, I say like it wasn't as oversaturated, and guys were trying to be good wrestlers.
Yeah.
They were trying to like get noticed for their in-ring work, not for like things they did outside the ring or on social media. They wasn't trying to like trend, by doing something dumb.
Right.
Doing something stupid in a match that makes no sense. Guys wanted to get noticed off for their like work rate. Work rate was high at that point.
Yeah.
Work rate now isn't that high. Like, it's a bunch of like people look at the work rate now as like how many high spots can guys do in a match? How many flips they can do in a match?
Exactly.
It's like not one person put on a freaking one person locked up. Not one person put on a wrist lock or a hammer lock.
That's what I was about to say. I don't think they realize that the small stuff makes sense.
Man.
To me, the smaller stuff leads to the story and the build to get
like over this time. It's the small things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, man, leaving the States and like moving to Japan, I learned how to like. I was doing everything in Japan, man. I was doing mat work. I was doing like sumo wrestling, like
so
judo,
learning all aspects of the business, psychology,
everything from the ground up.
Yeah, that's the way to learn. I mean, these kids today, they don't get it. So I guess I'll change the question. Is there anyone in today's, market wrestling, whether it's overseas or in the States, local, that you see would be a good prospect for MKW? Someone that you'd like to work with that you haven't yet?
That I haven't worked with from the States?
Or someone could be in Japan, or someone maybe you worked with once or twice and you're like, damn, I wish we could have more matches because we gelled really well. Is there anybody that stands out, or a couple of people?
There's so many guys, man. Like, one guy is Azriel.
Azriel, yeah. I remember Azriel. Yeah.
From the States. Man. I loved Grim Reaper. We had some bangers.
I was gonna bring him up. Grim Reaper and Arcadia were a tag team against you guys.
Grim Reaper was so dope, man.
You come out going like this.
He doesn't get enough. He doesn't get enough credit, man. He was so dope, and he was a great promo too. He was hilarious.
Yeah,
man. Like another guy, Mike Law, Colossal Mike Law.
Yeah.
Jorge Santi. Like, man, these are all guys I've known for years. I've wrestled with them. Man, they have the passion, man.
How about Amazing Red?
Man, Red too, man.
Yeah.
Like
he's out of Brooklyn.
I know he's like, yeah, he's in and out.
Yeah,
he's in and out. Like from what I see, but hell yeah, Amazing Red. Like he's another guy. Like we got close with Amazing Red, man.
Yeah,
and he's awesome, man. He's a great guy.
Yeah, I mean, you guys put on some great matches. You guys had the pleasure of wrestling him with Arcadia, Grim Reaper with Arcadia.
Arcadia's another one,
yeah, because he was always like the wild card. He would wrestle with different guys in tag teams and put on a hell of a show.
He was dope, man. He would come up with all these crazy moves, man. I'm like, yo, he's just inventing like things every damn show, and I'm like, yo, more power to you, because me and my brother was the same way. He was always like creating these different tag moves and stuff like that.
Well, I got to admit,
like,
man,
always had like different tag moves.
There was never an All Money Is Legal match that I wasn't entertained. I was always entertained by you guys, and whoever you wrestled against, you guys always had that knack to be able to wrestle any style.
Yeah,
and I thought that was really great, because that's hard. That's very innovative, because not many wrestlers can get used to working different styles. Like you get a guy like Rey
wanted
Mysterio.
to adapt to our opponents. Yeah,
like the size, the style. You have to adapt.
Yeah, you have to adapt, man. Like you need to be well-rounded, man.
Yeah,
like that's why I focus so much now on like the little things. Like ever since moving to Japan, like I don't even care about the moves. I have a bunch of moves I don't even do anymore. I don't do my flips anymore.
Right.
People see the stuff that I post, like, oh, you're doing all these reverse 450s and.
But if you had to, you can still do it, right?
Yeah.
It's like riding a bike. You don't forget.
Yeah. Like, can you still do that? I'm like, yeah, I'm like 50 pounds heavier, but I can still do all that.
I might hurt you coming down, but.
Yeah.
But I can still do it.
That's the reason why I don't do them, because I'm worried about my opponent, because I'm heavier now. And it's like some of those moves you can't really like, it's all in.
Well, it's harder really to execute because there's more muscle now, and you're more diesel. Like, let's face it. So there's more weight to push off the ropes to do it. Yeah,
man. The reverse 450, it's all in.
Yeah,
it's not like a regular 450 where I have to put my knees down first and like cushion the blow. The reverse 450 is all in, and me being like 50, 60 pounds heavier than I was when I was doing
it. There's very small room for error. Very small margin for error. You have to make sure you're spot on.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
I don't even I don't even do it. Like I can do it, and I'll bring it out like once in a blue.
Yeah.
When I feel it's worth it. If I'm wrestling a bigger guy, I'll bust it out of nowhere, But no, I just focus on like the little things, like my facials, my psychology.
Big.
Little things that like my footwork.
Right.
Ring positioning, like the little things people like freaking. There's some veterans that's not even on point with all that stuff.
Yeah.
I mentioned ring positioning or ring presence. They'll be like, huh?
Yeah, they don't get it.
Like I'm more on top of all that, man. Like I know where all the cameras are, the hard camera. So if I'm doing a move, I'm doing it towards the hard camera.
Right. You have to know where the hard camera. Right.
I have it down to a
all
science
stored in your head.
Like I know.
It's natural.
I know exactly where I am in the ring at any moment.
Right.
I could get freaking knocked out, wake up like a few seconds later. I know where I'm at. Like, and get right back to it. And that's
second nature.
Before.
Yeah. But
you
said it best. I'm sorry to cut you. You said it best with the small things and the big things. You know when to perform that big thing. You know how to get to that moment. But before you got to that moment, it's the small things. The facial expressions, the rest holds, all the things you did to get there is what makes it, makes sense out of it. You don't just start a match and doing a flip on somebody. It's like, okay, I'm going to stand here and wait for you to do a flip, and hopefully we'll time this right. I mean, it makes no sense. But what you're saying does. Total sense. Yeah. Speaking of moves, I was looking at some of your old moves, your favorite moves. You had the paid in full. It was like a swinging gory.
Oh, yeah.
Swinging gory bomb to an inverted neck breaker.
Yeah.
You had some really crazy moves here.
The crossroads.
The stick up, the butterfly hold into the Boston Crab. Remember that one?
The
Yeah.
stick up.
Yeah.
Yeah. With the DDT after.
Yeah. I remember you had
Yeah.
the thug passion.
Thug passion. Yeah.
Victory
That
kick
was the double
special.
submission.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You still use any of those
We circle
moves,
each
or
other and it's fixed.
do you use like have you incorporated anything from
Not
when he's
really.
legal, or it's just like all new stuff now with as Buffa?
I did. Yeah, I still honestly like not really because at that time, like I didn't really have a lot of singles moves
Right. So you
when I
adapted
was,
over a course of time.
tag team. Yeah,
Yeah.
I had to, I had no choice.
Yeah. Because you got a whole
Because
new gimmick now.
whenever yeah,
Yeah.
because I was like, whenever we're in the ring, we're gonna be hitting tag moves trying to win.
Right.
So there wasn't really time for singles moves. I would have like a few, but I wouldn't do it every match. Like I wouldn't do like singles moves every match. I would do like a different one because because we're the baby faces. So a majority of the time we're taking the heat.
Right.
So we don't have time to really hit like these big singles moves and stuff like that. So when it comes to the tags, we coming in, tag team moves, try to get the win, or hot tag, come in like simple stuff like form, hose line, drop kick. Then we going back to the tag moves to try to win the match.
Right. And that's the thing. Tag teams today, I don't think they get the hot tag. Because a lot of times I don't see the passion, the struggle and trying to reach out for their tag partner, and then like at the last second, the other team grabs them back. And it sucks the people in to saying, "Oh my God, come on, make the tag already." Yeah. I don't see that like I used to see the hot tag.
Man. You don't. Like a lot of tag matches I don't see that. And another thing too that I don't see is like when a person's partner is in the ring taking the heat, they're just on the apron like this.
Yeah, just like a statue.
Instead of being on the apron, like, come on,
like getting the claps going, reaching for the tag.
Yeah. One thing we always did, like if I was on the apron, if my brother get hit for the move, I'm selling that move too.
Exactly.
I'm like, oh damn. Like, come on.
Tag team.
What I mean?
Exactly.
These guys are on the apron like they're freaking partner get hit for the move.
I'm waiting for my moment. I'm waiting for my spot.
Like,
yeah.
You should be selling the move that your partner just took. Like, God damn. Like,
right.
Back is come on.
So as a tag team specialist, tag rope, yes or no?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Because you can tag from anywhere without the rope. I mean, the whole rope is part of the match. You have to stretch and you're reaching.
Yeah.
Without that, there's no drama,
And I know we used to get a lot of heat because sometimes for some of the vets for like two things. One of those things was us breaking up like a lot of the counts. Like my brother's getting pinned, I would come in and break it up.
Right.
He gets pinned, I come in and break it up. So they was like, and I understand it like, you want the hot tag to be big. You don't want to be in a ring into the hot tag. Because if the fans see you in the ring multiple times, it's kind of like it takes away from the hot tag. So I understood that. But in my mind, I'm like, I don't want my brother to get pinned. Why am I?
We're not ready to get beat yet. I got to break it up. Yeah.
Yeah, like why am I allowing him to get pinned without breaking it? So I kind of understood what they were saying. Then that's something that we stopped. We stopped breaking up all the counts and stuff like that.
Okay.
And
as long as you're not breaking up the count,
at the time,
that counts.
I was like, yeah, that's why I was like, man. I was like, damn, man, like.
Nah, to me, getting involved double teaming makes sense.
Getting heat for this.
Yeah, you should. I can see somebody getting heat if they did it way too many times. But if you chose the spot wisely, whether you kick the guy off your partner or you grab the guy's ankle and pull them out of the ring, it makes sense. As long as you're not doing it when you're supposed to get pinned, I don't see a problem with it.
And another thing, like they would, like some of the vets would get on us about was the foot tag.
Oh, okay.
Instead of the hand tag, and I was like, veteran mentioned the foot tag to us. That's why we will always do it.
Yeah. Plus, tag teams would use the foot to hit the guy's head into his foot, use it as like an object, and then do a tag.
I'm like, really, like, because they're like, oh, it's not legal, and I'm like, what you mean? Like, you don't have to only smack the hand. You can smack the chest. Like you see guys smacking the chest, the back.
It's a body part. Why not the foot? Yeah.
And I'm like, we trying to be as creative as possible. So
exactly,
they was using that foot tag like crazy,
Yeah, it's innovative.
But then we stopped doing that because, some of the vets was like, you shouldn't do the foot tag. So we was like, okay. Well, and another thing would be like the tag moves, like say, oh, you guys are in the ring for more than 5 seconds. But I'm like, the Hills should be trying to get in the ring, distracting the ref. So I'm like, if the tag move takes a little bit of time, the Hills should be smart enough to know, like, all right, let me get in the ring so
we can extend it.
Because we do that to the Hills.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, when the Hills come in and like he's on my brother doing the move, and I know the move is going to take more than 5 seconds. I'm trying to get in, distracting the ref.
Get the referee's back turned. So you're like, look what he's doing. Look what he's doing. Meanwhile, the heels can do what they got to do past the 5-second mark. And then by the time the ref turns around, that guy is back outside the ring. That makes total sense.
Yeah.
Because as a fan, you're going to get, fans get pissed saying, oh, look what this guy's doing. But that's what you want to do. That's the reaction you want.
Yeah.
It's the same as stomping and clapping when you want the comeback to have your partner get up. I learned a long time ago, never listen to people saying you shouldn't do this and you shouldn't do that, because whether they mean to or not, they're holding you back. And if you feel passionate about something, it doesn't hurt to try it. And if you don't like it, if it didn't work out, at least you tried. Never let someone say, don't do this and don't do that, because what makes them 100% correct? Everybody's right and
absolutely.
Nobody's perfect. And, that always bothered me when people would, tell you what to do and what not to do. You got to be innovative. I look back
on it now and I'm like, man, why do we should have just stayed on track and been like, what we doing us. Like,
but you live and learn. That's the main thing. As long as you learn from the mistakes, that's what, everybody has to grow in the business. So basically, now that you wrestle in MKW, do you guys wrestle in one place or do you go to different places? I saw the mall. So you were coming down an escalator, I think, with the radio you were being introduced. I see you coming. I was like, wow, that's pretty interesting.
That was the mall show was pretty much like a house show for us.
Okay.
Because we run the tapings inside of like previously we was running inside like this bar in China, so we do all the tapings there.
Okay.
But I think the bar / club got shut down, so we had to move to like another location, which is where we did these last 2 tapings at.
Okay.
Then the mall show came along, that was added to the tour, but that was more of a house show,
Right now,
so I don't think they're gonna show that show on it aired live on one of the streaming sites out here in China, but I don't think that show was gonna be on their blast off show that airs on YouTube.
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask you. So basically the live crowd has the benefit to watch live, and then other people can watch it on YouTube.
Yeah. Like this, last year when we first started doing the tapings for YouTube, this was during like the COVID. So they only allowed I think 10 or 20 fans.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask you that. The average draw now compared to before COVID.
Yeah. So at that time last year, it was only about maybe 10 or 20 fans there. And we run in multiple days throughout the week. So it would be 20 there one day, 10 next day, maybe 5 the day after. So this time around, it was a little more open,
Okay.
It wasn't only 12 fans, anything like that. So there was more opportunity for more fans to come, but for some reason, they didn't do that good on the draw because we changed locations.
Right.
So I guess a lot of the fans that was going to the club
didn't have enough time to know about the other place.
Yeah. And this place was in this weird, area. It would have been impossible for somebody to find, so the draw wasn't as good, but the mall show was amazing. That was the first time we wrestled in front of a live crowd in a year.
Okay. It's awesome.
Man, it was packed.
Now, when you guys record, your shows, is it an episodic thing? This is what happened last week?
It is.
And it's you pick up where you left off?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Feuds wise, storylines. Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And how about merchandise? You guys have your own merchandise, shirts, hats, posters?
They have merchandise, but they do, but they don't really push it that much, honestly.
Have you ever tried to push ideas on your own? Like Buffa shirts with the boombox?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because that's where the money's at.
I don't really Yeah, I've never been big on the shirts though. I like to do things like when I was in Japan, I would sell like the little button I have on my Kango hat.
Yeah.
It's a picture of me.
Okay.
Like I was selling like the old school buttons with the safety pin on the
Yes.
inside, you kept
Yes.
on your
You would
shirt.
hold it up.
I
Right.
was
Right. Right.
selling those in Japan. Yeah. And those did great in Japan. Like I like little things like that other wrestlers wasn't really doing.
Yeah.
Because the shirts is like, you might do good, you may not. And I'm like, shirts is too much of an investment.
Right.
And
So
half the
maybe
time
start
I'm
off
like giving
small.
them out to friends and stuff like that.
Yeah. Like if the buttons and
So
pins, you start off small. If that works, you can always upgrade because
yeah.
there's money to be
Then you
made.
just upgrade.
You know, I mean,
Oh yeah. Like
it may be a bigger
I've been
scale,
I've
but
been thinking about it.
yeah, you really should
Yeah.
because I mean, on a bigger scale, I mean,
Yeah.
think what
Oh yeah,
happened
I
years
have.
ago with Stone Cold. He
Hmm.
made his speech on the podium when he
Yeah.
became king of the ring. Jake the Snake was big into
Yeah.
religion, and he says, "You talk about your Psalms, you
Hmm.
talk about John 3:16.
Yeah.
Well, Austin 3:16 says, "I just whipped your ass." The next night, these guys are
That's
holding signs 3:16.
yeah with the signs.
He had the Vision 3:16 shirt with a skull, very
Hmm.
simple. And look at the money he made.
Yeah.
Those shirts are still selling
I
25
know,
years
man.
later. So that
Oh
might be
hell yeah.
something that you might be able to,
Oh
cash in
man,
on, you know?
I have ideas. Like being in China, like
Yeah.
this is the perfect place for me to, get the merchandise popping because this is
Yeah.
where everything is made.
Right.
So because of COVID slowed down a lot of things, man.
Yeah. Slow down
But
everything.
I'm I'm gonna get the merchandise going again, man. Like, and I have some crazy ideas, man.
Right.
It's gonna be cool as hell, man.
Well, I can imagine,
Thank you
man.
for reminding me that, man, because
No problem. That's
I
what
had
I'm
a
here
whole
for, man.
layout.
Yeah.
I had a whole layout. I wasn't going to do shirts just yet. I was going to do
Well, little
like
by
other
little,
things.
you can always, yeah,
I'm gonna do inflatable boom boxes.
that's an
That's
idea.
my main thing right here. Because you remember how they used to have the old school like WWF. They
Yeah.
would have like the big hand that you slip your
Yeah, the
hand
big
in and
hands. They
wave
had
and all that.
the wrestling buddies, those big stuffed animal things they
Yeah,
had. I mean, you can start off small so you don't make a big investment and then take that money and turn it
yeah.
around to something, bigger and work your way up. I
Hmm.
mean, think about it.
Absolutely.
Not to overkill the whole thing, but here's a
Yeah.
gentleman who's in China, right, of African
Hmm.
American descent, and sticking out like a sore thumb can't be a total bad thing. It could be a good thing as well.
No, no.
And
It
that's what
is. It
and you
is.
can
Absolutely.
make a killing on that because you're not just another face in China. You're unique.
Yeah.
You have a great look,
Mhm.
a great build. I mean, and you're a great worker in the ring. So all those attributes
Yeah.
can assist you in merchandising eventually
Oh,
if you decided to, explore that option.
I'm really. I'm gonna really like go hard on the merch
You know?
coming up. Yeah, because now everything is cleared up pretty much in China.
Yeah.
So the factories are open again.
Okay.
And I mean, it's time to do it now, man.
Do
It's
you
time to
still have to
like
wear a mask
get the
out
ball
there,
rolling.
or you guys still wear
Oh,
masks
not so much.
outdoors? Really?
They do, but it's not. You don't get fined for not wearing a mask because that was like a big thing. Like when COVID first hit, like if
Right.
you was outside without a mask, you get a fine.
Oh yeah, I heard
But
about
now
that.
it's kind of
Yeah.
like now it's like whatever. Like China was the first like country to really get things on lock,
Yeah.
and it's crazy because supposedly this is where it came from.
Yeah.
And it's another reason why everybody was like, "Oh, are you okay?" I'm like, "I'm fine." Like
Right.
the
Right. Right.
media blows everything out of proportion. I'm like, this always happens to me when I first went to Japan. That's when a big earthquake and tsunami
Oh,
happened,
okay. Oh, you experienced one.
and everybody
Okay.
was, yeah. Everybody said,
Wow.
"Oh, come home, come home." I'm like, "Nah, I feel safe."
Right. Right.
Like I was in Tokyo, I was away from the tsunami, but the earthquake, like the freaking ground, freaking broke in half. It split right
Oh,
outside the
Jesus.
dojo.
Wow.
So I was experiencing aftershocks every night and stuff like that. So I was like, if I feel safe, I'm not gonna rush home.
Yeah.
So I toughed it out, man, and stayed. And I was helping them with like a lot of the donations. Like the dojo was full of like
Well, that's
donations, and
cool.
we was
You
like
got
loading up
involved.
trucks.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like, yeah, man. So that was awesome, man.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, and I look at COVID when that took place. Everybody said, "Oh, come home, come home." I'm like, it's a little different now because I have a girlfriend. I have
Exactly.
pets.
Coming home is not going to solve
I'm not.
everything. Your life's out there
Yeah, I'm
now.
like,
And who's to say you come here
yeah,
and
she's
God forbid you can get it? I mean, it can happen
yeah.
anywhere.
I'm like, man, she's not Chinese. She's Singaporean.
Right. Okay.
This isn't her country. I'm just gonna like kind of man am I to just leave her here with these three pets
Right.
and just running back home for what? Like,
So,
I don't even want to be in the States. Like,
well,
there's
your
nothing
life
there
is
for me. Like,
now
other than friends and family, yeah.
right. Your life is now
Like,
in China. Now you can come
professionally,
back to visit if you want. So tell me,
yeah.
how
Like,
did you meet your
that's what I was
girlfriend?
doing before. I met her while I was living in Shanghai.
Okay.
You know, I used to like she was living in Shanghai and working there too. And we met there because I will always be out, you
Right.
know. And
Right.
like I said, she's in like the she was in marketing, she's in like the entertainment field as well.
Right.
So we met there. And after I left OWE, you know, I moved back to Hong Kong for a little while. But things started to get heavy between me and her. So I wanted to move back to Shanghai, but I
Okay.
wasn't working for OWE anymore. So I would just tour. I would just go to South Korea, Taiwan.
Right.
But I was based out of Shanghai for like maybe a year after I left OWE. Then we moved. We moved like this apartment we're in now is like this, like the fifth apartment we've been in since like 2000 and like 19 when I was in Shanghai. We moved like five
Wow.
times.
Okay. And
Yeah,
I know
man,
moving is a
it's
pain in the
crazy.
ass, man.
Oh,
Yeah.
but this apartment is cool. Like we want to be here for like at least another 2 years.
Cool.
But moving is oh man, a pain. Like and with like two dogs and a cat on top of that,
Yeah. No, you have like a full family.
you can just you can
Yeah.
just imagine, man. Like my
Yeah.
life just went from here,
Right.
single man partying to like
You see how it expands? I mean, it happens over a course of time,
oh man,
And the best is when
I
you're
wouldn't
not
trade it,
planning it.
man.
That's the best part. When you're not planning something to happen,
Yeah,
that's when it happens.
hmm
And your girlfriend,
exactly,
where is she
man.
from originally?
Uh, Singapore.
Singapore. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Really cool.
Singapore. Yeah.
So
I
let
went
me
out
ask,
there. It's pretty cool out there, man.
does Buffa have any future wedding plans?
She would be the one.
She would be the one. So
She would be the one.
you guys
She
been
would.
together for what, a couple of years now? Several?
Yeah. hmm
Okay.
Yeah.
So never say
Yeah. She
never,
would be
but
the one.
right now you're
Yeah.
pacing yourself.
I never wanted to.
Right.
Yeah. I never wanted to. But I'm like, I'm looking at my life now. You know, the more you mature, the
Yep.
more your outlook on things change. And I'm like, you know what? Why not?
Never say never.
Why not?
Okay, we'll leave it at
Yeah.
that for now. No pressure.
Cause check this out. My brother just got married.
Oh, congratulations to him.
And
And you
we
got to
were
make
like,
sure you give him my
yeah,
best.
we were saying,
Yeah.
oh yes, for
You know.
sure, man,
Yeah,
absolutely, man.
just
We
say,
just got married, then we
that's
was like
awesome.
never getting married. And
See what happens, things can
like things,
change. Yeah.
yeah, things really worked out for him when he moved to Florida, man. Like I'm happy for him, man. I'm like, because
Yeah.
I was worried, man, not just for
Right.
myself, like moving to Japan. I was worried about him, like, damn,
Sure. Well, he's your
hope
brother. It's natural. You're gonna
works
worry about
out,
his
man.
well-being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
hmm
And not just being brothers, but
But
not to
he
be
just,
funny. When you're a tag team, you guys bond, become one. So
oh,
you're
yeah, man.
still a unit. If you're still, even if you're not wrestling no more as a
hmm
tag team, you have a bond. You're not just a tag team.
Yeah.
You're brothers.
Oh, of
So
course, man.
that's a bond
Yeah.
that can never be
And
broken. Yeah.
it's crazy, man. I went like what 14 years as a tag wrestler. So now that's tough, man.
Yeah. Well,
That's
a
tough.
lot of
I'm
famous
like,
wrestlers started as tag team specialists and they became single
yeah,
stars. Bret Hart comes to mind,
that
Shawn Michaels, the British
that's true.
Bulldog,
That's
you know, a lot of
but
guys
they
became singles wrestlers that were big on
because they
tag
was
teams.
working for
Yeah,
they was working for the same company, you know.
exactly. You got to
They had
start
that
somewhere.
safety net. I didn't really have a safety net. I was just like kind
Yeah.
of own, like, oh man.
It's just
Like
crazy how things
if
happen, man.
cyberspace would have stuck around and it happened, then
Yeah.
I would probably feel a little bit better because already established there. doing the Indies. Now I'm moving to another country.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, like, I try to tell people about that. Like, I don't know how tough I had it, man. I had it tough, man. It was not
A lot
easy
of sacrifices
at all.
Yeah. But think about it, though.
Man,
all the sacrifices, you went all in, and I'm sure you struggled for a while, but look where you are now.
Oh, yeah.
All that hard work paid off.
You know? And it's like whenever I'm at like my lowest, something comes up and like gets me to the next level, man.
Exactly. Just when you're in a funk, something gets you out of it.
The seas, man.
Yeah.
It's just like I'm at the bottom. I'm like, oh man. When's this next booking gonna come? When this next payday gonna come? I'm running out of money. Then out of nowhere, boom.
Boom, you get the phone
something
call.
Comes up.
Right. Well, that's that. Well, thank God for that.
Next be here.
Yeah. And with your gimmick and your moves and your whole move set and the way you portray yourself, I watched some of the videos I was highly impressed with. I enjoyed.
Yeah.
By you doing that and just growing more, especially in China, that character is very unique. Because think about it, not to be funny. Absolutely. Can you imagine if a Chinese dude came out with a Kango hat and a boombox? It'd be funny, but it'd be more comedic shit.
Yeah.
It wouldn't make sense.
Yeah, they'll take it as a joke.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you're from Hunts Point, Bronx, New York. You know, you're a New York dude, you know, rapper. You had the gangster look and all money is legal. You're coming out with the boombox, the Kango hat. I mean, that's real shit, man. You know, that's nothing that's manufactured. This real deal.
This is my childhood. This is my childhood.
Like, you're bringing it in front of people.
I wasn't old enough to walk the streets with a big gold chain and a boom box. You know what I mean? But that's all stuff I was attracted to as a kid. And I'm like, man, I wish I was old enough to wear the gold chain and the Kango hat and the Adidas and walk around with a boom box. I would see guys doing that, wearing that all the time.
Me being older than you, I was surrounded around that when I was in high school. All my friends, you know, who were into rap, they dressed like that. You know, I dress a little differently because they probably would have kicked my ass if I was dressed like that. But the point I'm trying to make is, you know, I had all different diverse friends, you know, the high school I went to. So all my white friends, some of them were heavy metal heads. Some of them were those Guido guys with the gold chains saying, hey, you know, those type of guys. And then, you know, I had my homeboys, they would dress like Run DMC and everything. And, you know, you had all different types of people we hung out with. And, you know, for you, you're reliving something from the past. I actually grew up with that. So I can, when I see your character, I love it because I can relate to it. It brings me back to a simpler time. You know?
Oh, man. Great times, man.
Yeah.
Graffiti on the trains. I used to love being in the trains. They see the trains go by with the graffiti. Oh, I love it.
They didn't have graffiti back in the day. You couldn't recognize the train. I mean, it was like, that's a train. Wait a minute. I don't see no writing on that thing. You know, what's going on with that?
Yeah, like, what is this?
But, you know, back then, graffiti at first, you know, people, they frowned upon it. They cleaned the trains up. But then it became like part of art, you know, and they just accepted it.
Yeah,
because it's like, how many times we're gonna wipe this shit off and then they're just gonna spray it back? Whatever, it is what it is. Now today it's different. I mean, things have calmed down. The trains now, I don't know how they're like going on them since I don't work in the city anymore, thank God. But you know, a lot of shit's changed over the years. And the thing that I can't stand the most,
not for the best.
No, why is it that whether it's wrestling, music, acting, whatever it is, why do people get offended over every little thing? If you don't like it, don't watch. What's your mindset on that?
It's because of the internet, man. Because of social media, everyone has a voice.
Yep.
Everyone has a voice.
I call them like, the keyboard warriors. That's what I call them right here, Buffa. The keyboard warriors. Yep. That's what they are. They're all tough with their hands, but if they got into your face, that shit wouldn't fly. They wouldn't say
everyone shouldn't be able to voice their opinion online. That's the way I feel. Like that's what it comes down to. You know, everyone can say whatever they want.
Yeah, those are the maniacs in mommy's basement. That's what I call
there's always, and it's like you may take offense to it at first, but when you like do some research on this person, you look at their pictures and the stuff they post, and you're just like, why am I taking offense to? Look at this guy. Like,
exactly. You know, they don't have tough skin. Can you imagine if they grew up in your generation or my generation? They wouldn't have lasted a day or two.
Like,
You gotta have thick skin, man.
It's tough, man.
Yeah.
It's tough. Like being here, man, like a lot of these guys, like there's so much potential here, but these guys, like a lot of these guys don't listen.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to see it. You'll be able to see it while watching the matches. I'm like, I'm trying to help these guys out, man.
Exactly.
Like
Show them
give
the
them
big
as
picture.
much knowledge as possible.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's like they're just not there yet. And at first I was like, I was practicing patience. I'm like, they don't really understand. So I gave it time. But now I'm like, I don't see a lot of them improving. And I'm just like, it gets me upset, man, because I'm like, yo, you guys don't know how good you have it. I had to work for everything, man. And these guys are like both, like a lot of like, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of them that listen, but few and far between, man. It's like it goes in one ear out the other. And I'm just like, I don't even want to be associated with stuff like this because people want to look at me like, oh, he has all this experience while these guys still at this level. And it's like, it's not because I'm not trying to help. I'm trying to help, but it's only so much.
But they're not listening. That if they're not listening, you can try to help all you want. But if they're not willing to listen and learn, you're not going to get anywhere. And the problem with that is when you started in the business, and when I started in the business, it was harder to get into, and you had to be accepted before you can be part of that club. Now today, anybody can go out, buy a pair of boots, go to any school, even a half-ass school, and play wrestling. And they don't get the full training like they should. Like in the doghouse, that was like hard knocks. Probably you guys, had to learn and learn respect and took a beating to make it to that next level. Yeah. These kids today, they don't get treated like that. You hear stories of like Hulk Hogan, Hiro Matsuda broke his leg when he first went to the training. And then he healed up. He came back. He said, "Hey, listen, I'm back. I want to learn whatever." I'm not saying to break someone's leg today. That's not what I'm getting at. But what I'm saying is there should still be some kind of level of respect and toughness like you had in the doghouse. Yeah. And these kids today, they don't get that. So they think they can do anything.
And that's, I think, where the disconnect is. As they should be, man.
Right.
Yeah, man. Like, even like when I moved to Japan, I had to be retrained.
Sure.
Because it's like, psychology is different. The footwork is different.
The whole style.
Everything is like shoot style, So I'm like, I've freaking been trained twice. And what better place to be trained at than Japan by the likes of, Masato Tanaka, Sujiro Otani.
That's amazing. Yeah.
And Akudo Hadaka. Like, these are like my trainers, Right. And this is like 10 years after I've already been in the business. So
now you learn a whole new style.
Like when I moved to Japan, that like took me to the next level. I learned so much, man.
I can imagine.
So much.
So basically you started learning that style around 2014, I'd say. So for like the last 7 years, you've been busting your ass learning this. So obviously you had a good mindset because listen, you're there almost a decade doing this shit and you're lasting. So that tells me your character, your mindset, your discipline. More people need to have that in order to get to that next level. And I commend you for that because not many people can make that transition. Especially from local tough, to overseas. Man. It's no joke. You know?
And that was a problem like the owner at the time had. I was only American there. I was only American they wanted because they reached out. It was like, because when I first went to 01, it was like an international tryout. Okay. And I found out about it. And I contacted the owner at the time, and the tryout was happening like that month that I contacted him. So I, asked him if they would be doing another one. He was like, "Yeah, we'll be doing one next year." So I was like, "Oh, okay. I would love to, me and my brother would love to be a part of it." Get out. Right. He was like, "Okay, I'll put you down. I'll be in touch." Fast forward, one good thing I did was we sent the video package of our work.
Okay.
We sent it to him, and he was like, "Oh." Like all the guys there was like, "Oh wow, it's so cool.
I want this guy. He's good."
It was like, yeah. And the crazy thing is, like, this pit like added pressure to us before we got there because they saw like the boombox and all that, and it was like, "Oh, Masato Tanaka said, make sure you bring the boombox with you, and if you can't bring it, we'll get you one here. If you can't bring it on a plane, we'll get you one." So I was like, "Oh shit!" Like,
this is some heavy shit.
This is dude we grew up on. Like, huge fans of these guys. You know, like 01 was like the company we wanted to wrestle for in
Right.
Japan
And
because
now you're in company
it
with them.
was
So that's
yeah.
that's incredible. Sure.
They don't get enough credit, man. Because at that time, like 2001, they were like the biggest thing in Japan. They
Yeah.
was out drawing freaking New Japan. They was on pay-per-view, and that was like the first Japanese company to give indie guys from the States opportunity, like Samoa Joe,
Yeah.
AJ Styles. All these guys went through 01.
They
Low
all went through
key,
01.
it was
Correct.
through 01.
Yeah.
So at this time, we're training. So we're like, everybody's going in. We're like, oh man, we go to Japan. That's the first place we want to go.
Right.
Fast forward, we got the opportunity. So I was a fan of the company. Like, I didn't just go in there like a lot of these guys say, oh, like a lot of guys went through there just to say that they wrestled in Japan.
Right.
Because at the time, it would bring your stock up. So a lot of guys would go there, couldn't get through the training, last the day and be shipped right back home. Like, oh, you can't finish the training, get out of here. They would just
you
kick
can tell
guys
who's
out.
going to work out versus who isn't. That's the best way to do it. And speaking of
Because you
these
had to
talents,
train,
exactly. Now I know you're in China now. I don't know if you keep up with the product
Yeah.
over here with like WWE, AEW.
Yeah, a little bit. I know what's going on pretty much.
Okay, so you know what's going on. So let me ask you this: your opinion. Samoa Joe, we just mentioned him recently. He was released by WWE. He did commentary at WrestleMania 37. Now, me, I happen to think Samoa Joe was doing a great job on commentary, given the fact that he was injured and he couldn't work. What was your thoughts on WWE releasing him? Do you think it should have happened or no? And why?
I honestly think that it was the best thing that could happen for him in his career.
Yeah.
I think he's just he's gonna be the Samoa Joe that everyone was hoping he was gonna be in WWE.
I mean, everybody had high expectations.
I think this is gonna fuel him to come back and just kill it,
Yeah.
Just to use it as a slap in the face to them for releasing him. Exactly. I mean, that's the way I would approach it,
Yeah.
So
I mean, there were several releases, but I didn't think he should have been one of them,
Yeah, that was a little odd when I heard it. I was like, really? Because I didn't watch WrestleMania, but I came across some of the videos that people posted, and I saw he was on commentary, and I was like, oh wow, they released them. But I'm never surprised by the guys they released. Everybody gets released from there. You get hired to get released. If you keep that in your head,
it's a revolving door.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. So I wasn't surprised. I was just like, damn, that.
So if you're keeping up, if you're
anybody can release.
Exactly. So if you're keeping up with stuff over here, you have Kenny Omega, who was huge in Japan, and now he's wrestling for AEW. And not only is he the heavyweight champion in AEW now, but he just won the Impact title as well. So
yeah, sort of.
Someone like Kenny Omega. I mean, my nephew had a company a couple of years back in Brooklyn, and Kenny Omega wrestled there. The Young Bucks, MJF, all these guys before they were big, they wrestled local the way you guys wrestled in cyberspace. So with that being said, I see a lot of talent in AEW that I think if they had the opportunity to work in Japan against someone like you, it would be an awesome match.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I think it'd be great. So now that you've been there for a while now, are there more Americans in your company, or are you still one of the few Americans there?
There's one American, Cam Ferguson.
Okay.
I took him under my wing. He used to go to a lot of the shows in Philly. Then he moved to China to be a teacher.
Oh, okay.
And he came across MKW. Then he started training. He has a good look, good attitude. He's solid in the ring.
Right.
He's the only other. It's him, Cam Ferguson, and Uncle Money. He's from Atlanta.
Okay.
So they're all a lot of the foreigners that are there in NKW right now. They're teachers out here in China.
Okay.
It's another guy, Big Sam. He's from the UK. Another guy, Greg, from the UK. Mad Dog from the UK. Ash is from California. So there's a few other foreigners in NKW.
Okay. And now with MKW, do you guys have wrestling classes when you're not putting on shows? Do you have wrestling practice?
They have a school. They have a school in Harbin where we run the tapings. But I haven't been there to help any training. Like that was my plan. My plan was to go there like a few days before the tapings and like
right.
you know,
Work out a match,
do the training.
Yeah.
Like not so much a match, but just train them on,
okay.
Yeah, because a lot of them are inexperienced, so it's a lot of things that they're missing that they really haven't been taught that much.
Yeah.
So I was going to do that at one point, but it's kind of tough, man.
Yeah.
Schedules,
Well, now you're
I'm
considered a
here
veteran
doing
now.
this. Yeah.
So I mean,
yeah, man.
think about how that works. You started out as a rookie wanting to learn, and now
crazy.
you're giving back, and now you're considered a veteran. So in my opinion, if they don't come to you for advice, that's their loss.
I know, man. And that's the point I got to, man, because I would just like, I wouldn't say force it on them, but I would go to them with it. Like, I saw your match and, you should do this, do that, work on this, work on that, And I told them, like, you guys can come to me whenever. Like,
right.
My door is always open. But
that's a great policy,
only
man.
like Cam Ferguson is one of the guys that stepped up, DC Chan. But I'm like, out of all you guys, like, why aren't more of you like reaching out to me or reaching out to some of the other foreigners that are more experienced than y'all?
Yeah.
And it's like a lot
that's
of
how you get to the
guys
next
aren't doing
level.
that.
I mean, if you're
like,
not willing to listen, you're not going to grow. Mm-hmm. That's the thing.
Yeah. And it's tough, man, because for me, man, I don't like being a big fish in a small pond.
Right.
This is the first time I've been in that situation, because before that, I'm the small fish in a big pond, and I'm just learning and soaking up everything that I see.
But now you're at a different level now.
Given to me. Yeah.
So they should be taking advantage of that.
Like, yeah, and it's tough, man, because I'm like, COVID kind of like put me in a situation where, not that I didn't want to stay here, because I would have stayed here no matter what. I had the opportunity to leave the country.
Right.
I was gonna like go to the UK for 6 months. I never been to the UK, so I was excited for that. I was gonna go there for 6 months. Sure. And after that, I was gonna go back to Japan. But when COVID happened, I was like, I gotta step up as a man.
Right.
And,
take necessary precautions.
Down,
Yeah. I hear you.
So that's why I stayed. Then that's when I started working for MKW on a more consistent basis, because I would be in and out of MKW. I would come like maybe like once or twice a year and do shows.
And now it's become your home.
But it's like, yeah.
Okay.
And I'm just like, man, like, I'm coming off of living in Japan, wrestling every day, making a living off of wrestling. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Sometimes the transition is hard. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm wrestling these legends. I'm being trained by these legends. I'm freaking like building my status up there, building a fan base in one of the hardest markets to make it in wrestling, which is Japan.
Yeah.
And I'm doing well. Then it's like, now I'm like, I'm the veteran,
That's right, man. Hey, if I were you right now, I would do the Barry Horowitz. I would pat yourself on the back and say, hey, man, I deserved everything that I got. There you go. That's the Barry Horowitz.
Yeah, man. But
you deserve it, man. You worked your ass off. You know what I mean?
Do that, man. I don't want to be that guy,
But you know what?
I'd rather be the cool veteran that's not like, oh, you guys suck. Blah, blah. I want to be the cool veteran that sits down and talk to you. And
right. You're not being the doubter. You're just trying to give advice.
But the thing is, it's like I'm kind of getting to that point now, and I don't like it. Because I'm not saying, hey, come to me and ask me. Like, I'm not doing that. But I'm like, you guys you guys need to work harder, man.
And they should realize, well, listen, we should listen to him. He got to this level by listening to people before him. So if he got to this level and he's telling us what to do and trying to take the time to help us, maybe we should shut this and open these and listen. Yeah. Because how the hell are we going to get to that next level? If we haven't gotten there yet, maybe it's because of a reason. And by you trying to assist him, it's like, shut up, listen, and pay attention. Because I got my education when I used to drive on the road. And let me tell you, I'll tell you a real quick funny story.
Oh, that's some of the best times, man.
Billy Firehawk, God rest his soul. I loved Billy to death. And, you know, Billy was
Billy
originally
was
from
awesome.
Brooklyn. He moved to Las Vegas. And every time we had the cyberspace
Yeah.
shows at the Wayne PAL, if you remember, and the other venues,
Oh yeah, of
Billy
course.
had relatives in Brooklyn still that had an apartment building. And he would
Yeah.
fly from Vegas to Brooklyn. And I was living in Brooklyn at the
Oh
time.
wow.
And I would go to the apartment building, pick him up, and we would drive to the Wayne PAL. So for those 2 hours or 3 hours, if there was traffic, Billy would tell these stories.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, he was embellishing. He
Oh
was, you
man.
know, he was just like totally like stretching the truth. But I just loved
Yeah.
listening. I sat there, I would drive, I shut my
Hmm.
mouth, and I just listened to these road stories because he had a brief stint in
Yeah.
ECW. And then when he tagged with the
Oh
smoke, they
wow.
were fire and smoke. So he would tell all these stories. Not that they weren't true, but man, he was like really
Yeah.
exaggerating, turning that volume up. But the point is, I
Hmm.
loved the road stories. I listened. I was respectful.
Yeah.
You know, I started out as a street team member for cyberspace, just flying and doing
Hmm.
advertising. And I proved myself to him.
Yeah.
It got to the point where he said, only Todd's the driver. Todd's doing this, Todd's doing that. And some of the guys in the
Nice.
background in the security and the other roles, they got a little jealous, but I said,
Hmm.
guys, you have to apply yourself. If you have questions, ask
Yeah.
me. I'll help you. Like
Hmm.
the same way you wanted to
Exactly.
help the workers, the wrestlers,
Hmm.
I wanted to help the
Yeah.
staff. And if they're not willing to listen, if it's an ego thing, whatever it is, it's their loss, you know? But I commend you for that.
Man, it's tough, man. I'm at the point now where I'm just like, yo, I'm not gonna wrestle until these borders open and I
Yeah.
go back to Japan, man. Like it's frustrating, man. It really is, cause
Okay. So you want to
I'm
go
just
back to
like I'm looking.
Japan. You do want to go
Yeah,
back there
that's the
once
plan.
the borders opens
That's
up
the
with
plan.
the COVID. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, cool. And you'll
yeah.
still wrestle in
The
China
borders are
also?
closed right now. Yeah, yeah. I'll be back and forth
That's awesome.
because I'm about to go back to OWE in Shanghai.
Okay.
Like they approached me about coming back because they have different management now
Yeah, yeah.
and they're running more consistently than they were before. So I told them that I will go back. You know, I'll go back and I'm looking at June.
Okay.
I'm looking at June to go back there. So I'll just be like working there. Like I won't say I'll be moving back there,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
I'll be like relocating for a little bit
Relocating.
because I think they run about 3 shows a week right
Okay.
now. So I would have to be there like pretty consistently, you know, and
So now,
I'll just take bookings other places within China
okay, so
in
now when you go
between
to
that, you know.
Japan, when you travel, what do? You stay in hotels? You have
Yeah.
friends in the area? Okay. And that's all on your dime?
Uh oh no.
They pay for it.
Like I yeah, I have friends there. Like some of the times when I was outside of 01, I would stay with my ex-girlfriend at the time and some of my friends, and I was staying like a little they have like the net rooms. They call
Okay.
it net rooms. It's like little hotels, like little cubicles that you could
Like
sleep
overnight
in.
stays or something like that?
Yeah, they have
Okay.
like a computer there, and you know they have like a little cubicle. Like a lot of businessmen, like they stay there overnight.
Okay.
You know, because like I said, they be drunk
Yeah, yeah. You
after
told me
like
that
going
earlier.
out.
Drunk in the suit and everything.
So yeah, so they go to the
Sprawled all
net
out in the street.
room and sleep there to the morning. Yeah, and
Right,
then
right,
go back
right.
to work the next day.
That's
So
hilarious.
I would stay there too. And if you know I'm doing a tour, like that's all paid for. That's
Yeah.
all covered. Yeah.
Okay, that's
So
cool. Because I mean,
it's
I
not
know it can
bad.
be
Like
expensive,
I'm
man.
yeah, but the money in Japan is pretty damn good, even
Good.
on an indie level.
Right, right.
Like you can make a good living on the indies just working in Japan as a freelancer. You
Freelancer,
know.
right, right. Okay.
Yeah. So, but it was cool. But I came into Japan like working under a company,
Yeah.
a top company. So doing a freelance thing is cool, but you know, it's back to the indies. You know, you gotta
Yeah.
work out your own bookings and stuff like that. So it's like,
That's what I was about to
you
ask you.
know,
With the work visa, that's like a contract to work there. But with MKW
yeah, yeah,
separately, you're still considered a freelance worker because you're not
yeah,
contractually stipulated with them only.
yeah.
Okay.
And I have a work visa here, but
Right.
I got it from another company. Another company got me the work visa in China. So when I first came to China, I was working for this other company, and that only came about because at the time I was working in Macau, which is
Okay.
like the Las Vegas of Asia, like all the casinos and strip clubs and stuff like that. I was
Right.
working
Right.
inside of a strip club, a strip club and casino. So the wrestling is here on this side, and the
Right.
strippers is on this side. So it was like you could just imagine how crazy that time
Oh,
was.
but you were just wrestling. You weren't like a security guard for the other side. You were just
Nah,
wrestling. Okay.
just wrestling.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
they had the wrestling.
Yeah.
It
People
was
have
a
crazy
combo,
setups.
wrestling and stripping.
Well, I guess that was making them money. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
wrestling's a crazy
it
business.
didn't
They
work out.
intertwine wrestling with everything.
Yeah,
The rock and roll
it
era in
didn't work
the
out too
'80s.
well.
You know, wrestling
Yeah,
gets in for some
it
reason.
was.
Wrestling gets intertwined with
Uh,
everything. Music.
yeah, man. That's
You
like,
know,
man,
with the
that was
stars.
crazy, man. Like,
Like the Attitude Era had like all these crazy
oh,
stars coming in, like Mike Tyson and
mhm.
other people. So
Yeah,
wrestling has had
man.
a history of being
It was
intertwined with crazy shit.
it was a cool concept, man, but it didn't
Yeah.
really like pan out the way that they expected. But
Right.
it really saved me, man, because Macau happened after I left 01.
Right.
I basically told 01, like, I'm gonna go home for 6 months because I wanted to take a break, man. I was living in freaking Japan for like 3 years and things wasn't really like working out the
Yeah.
way I was hoping. And they changed management. So I was
Okay.
like, I'll be back. I told them I was coming back. So I was like, let me go home and try to see if I could get like a deal for one of
Yeah.
these companies on TV.
Right.
Got the international exposure already. Let me try to get the, exposure in the States. So when I came home, like I said before I left to go to Japan, like the bookings was, I'm gonna put you in a tag match, and I'm like, oh my god,
That's when the frustration started coming in.
Japan.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like,
Gotcha.
those didn't want to like because my rate went up from what it was when I was in the tag team. Now I'm a
Right.
singles wrestler with international,
Exactly.
exposure. So
That's some street cred right there, man. I mean,
yeah, I'm like,
it's like, where's the
of course
respect
I'm
now? Yeah.
demanding.
Right.
Yeah, of course I'm demanding more money. So a lot of these promoters say, oh, we
I
can't
don't blame
pay
you.
you that, blah blah blah. And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, then I'm not working. So it got to a point where I started running out of money.
Okay.
So I got a little depressed. I'm like, man, I went from living my dream to being back home. And
Yeah.
I'm doubting myself, like, why did you leave Japan? You had everything you needed and wanted.
Right.
So it got to a point where I had to get a regular job.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh man, it was tough. So I was like, I gotta make money,
Sure. That's what it's all
So
about.
I
So
took
during
a
those
regular
times,
job.
what were you doing?
Oh man, I got a job at a gourmet market.
Really?
Basically like this high-end supermarket in Greenpoint.
Okay. That's where I started. I
So I
started in
was
1986 in supermarkets. So I know what it's like.
Yeah, man. I was like, oh man, it was a cool supermarket in a nice area.
Right. Right.
I was making food, making sandwiches,
Right. Right.
doing all types of stuff, man, doing
Hey,
everything.
respect, man. You got to do what
So
you got to do to get by. You know?
yeah, and the thing that I learned a lot from that, man, because I never missed a day.
Yeah.
The way I was feeling, I was like, man, F everything. But yeah, I was at work
Yeah.
every day, So I was like, oh, man,
You know.
I gotta do something. Then that's when Macau came along.
Okay.
Because my boys that I met in Japan, that I was living with in Japan, they're from Hong Kong.
Okay.
And Hong Kong and Macau was like very close to each other. You could take a ferry to Macau from Hong Kong.
Okay.
So they met an investor that wanted to do like stripping and wrestling, a combination of the two. So I was home for about 6 months. Then my boys hit me up. They was always hitting me up like, oh, we're gonna start this wrestling and stripping thing in Macau. It's like, don't worry about it. Just give me a few months.
Yeah.
You wanna ink this deal, then we bringing you over.
That's awesome.
Right, cool.
That takes me back to what I said
So I had a
earlier.
little
It
bit of
happens.
hope.
Yeah, it happens when you're not expecting it. Sometimes
Yeah,
sometimes
man.
you have to be humbled. You have to, you have to
Oh yeah, I was
downgrade
hungry,
shit to
man.
get back up to where you came from, because
Hmm.
there's ups and downs in life, whether it's in professional
Yeah,
wrestling,
man.
job markets, any scenario in
Hmm.
life. Sometimes you're here, sometimes you're there. It
Yep.
fluctuates, but you held true to
Oh man,
yourself, and you stuck with it, which is awesome, and I commend you for that.
that. Thank you, man. That was a tough time, man.
I
I
can
didn't think I was
imagine.
gonna make it through it.
Yeah.
I wasn't taking bookings. I'm like, if they can't pay me this,
Right.
I'm not doing it. So
So
I wouldn't
you're
even
your own
like. I was
negotiator,
barely wrestling.
right? You don't have
Yeah.
anybody represent you. Represent yourself.
Nah. Nope. I've had
Okay.
people say, "Oh, you should get an agent and stuff like that," and I'm saying, "Yeah, that'd be cool. It takes some of the leg work off for me."
But at
But
the
I'm
same
like,
time,
I
it
don't
can be
know. Like,
costly too, and sometimes
yeah, and a
if
lot
you're
of
at a
agents
level
don't want to
like that,
represent wrestlers.
right?
Yeah,
It
it's hard
takes
to get a
time.
good agent.
Yeah.
You know, you got to get one of these wrestling agents, and it's like, will they want to represent me because I'm not like a former WWE? Like,
Right. Right.
I've never been on TV in the States like that. So would they even want to really represent me? Would it really go that hard for me? So I'm
So
just like, nah, I've been doing it on my own. So
so let me ask you
I just
this.
keep it that way.
Speaking of being on TV in the States, you told me, earlier in the interview that,
Yeah.
you got in touch with William Regal back in 2019. You were going to do the NXT
Yeah.
deal, and then this landed
Hmm.
on your lap being overseas. Let's say
Yeah.
now, 2021, let's fast forward to now. They start seeing
Okay.
tapes. They see this, Buster guy with the boombox. This guy's got a really cool look.
Yeah.
You get contacted now from whether it's William Regal,
Yeah.
Triple H, or someone in AEW, Tony Khan, and they say, we've been looking at your tapes. We'd like you to come back
Hmm.
to the States to do a tryout. Would you consider it?
Yeah.
Would you just try it out for the hell of it, or you just pass it up and just continue what you're doing?
Honestly, that's the only thing that's stopping me from returning to the States
Is the phone call.
is, yeah, because I'm no longer chasing, you know, TV
Right.
or a contract, because this is what I wanted to do, man. Like be
Well, you seem
overseas and
happy,
make my
so
name overseas.
yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, this open up so many doors for me, and I'm like, man, the business is so much better here, man. It's like not all these restrictions. I kind of like
Right.
being my own boss, calling in shots. Like,
Independence, not being held
yeah,
down
man,
like in chains by
that
anybody.
yeah, the independent flow is like
Yeah.
so refreshing, man. Like, because I have friends that are under contract for these companies, and they're just like,
Yeah.
it's not what you think it is. And I've been under contract with companies too, and that feeling of like you can't do this, you can't do that. That feeling of being
It's not all
freaking
sunshine and
handcuffed
rainbows.
is it's
Yeah.
not it's
Yeah.
not cool.
I hear you.
Luckily, like I was able to get out of my contracts that I had in the past,
Right.
but I'm just not chasing like any of these big companies. Like man, I'm well traveled, I'm experienced, I've built myself up from the ground
Built
up.
your own
Like
brand.
I have a lot to offer to any company. So
Yeah.
the same way they reach out to all these other guys, the same way they can reach out to me.
Exactly.
I shouldn't have to chase them. I'm not talent relations. They are like, this is their job. I shouldn't have to chase you with everything
Exactly.
I have to offer.
Right. You
Like,
come to me. Right. Right.
like whether it happens or not, I'm fine.
You're
I'm
cool
just
either
no
way.
longer chasing it.
Yeah. So now with
I'm good.
MKW, where you're wrestling now, what kind of style company are they? Are they more sports entertainment? Are they more like
Yeah.
attitude or something different?
Uh, more sports entertainment.
Okay.
More sports entertainment. Yeah.
So it's
That's
similar.
that's a vibe you get from it. Sports entertainment.
So similar to like sort of
Yeah.
like WWE, AEW has like some funny stuff, some serious stuff, feuds, factions,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's more on the sports entertainment. It's more on that lane.
Right, right.
Because another thing too, a lot of guys aren't that experienced. A lot of guys are still learning.
Yeah.
So that's what I tell everybody. Like before they watch it, I'm like, just keep in mind, a lot of these guys are inexperienced.
Yeah.
So go into it with like open mind. these guys want that experience. They're still learning. It's like they're learning on the job. So
right. So it sounds like
that's why I want them to get.
Yeah.
I want them to get more serious, man, because they're like this is being shown. Like we're in China with all these streaming sites. You know, these freaking videos are getting like millions of views because there's like billions of people here. You're getting all these views.
Yeah.
We're streaming live
such
on
an opportunity
YouTube every week.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like,
bring out your
man,
A game, bring
like,
out your best.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm with you, man.
Look bad on like
with all those faces on
why
you.
Would you want to turn people off?
Exactly. With all those faces on you, you want to give it your best, your A game, because like you said, potential millions of viewers on YouTube. You know, word of mouth travels, man, and that can make you or break you as an entertainer.
Yeah.
So you want to bring your A game. So with that said,
man,
what haven't you done yet, and what are you looking to do to accomplish moving forward in your career that you haven't, you know, had the opportunity yet to do? Like any goals and aspirations moving forward?
Like you just mentioned, like the bigger companies, I would like to get that TV exposure. That's the only thing I don't have.
Right.
Like I've wrestled on TV in Japan, wrestled on pay-per-view in Japan, wrestled on TV and like all over Asia. Wrestled on TV a little bit in the States, but it wasn't like national.
Right.
You know? So I would like to, you know, get a run in a bigger company like the MLW,
yeah,
you know, WWE.
You have my vote.
You know, had the opportunity with them, but you know, I guess it's all timing with, you know, WWE and a lot of these companies.
Yeah.
Like Ring of Honor, like any company that's on TV right now, that's a top company. I think I could bring a lot to it. Like I could fit in anywhere. You could put me anywhere.
I see that definitely. Now, is there anyone currently in
like there's nobody else out there like that has what I have. Like they don't bring what I bring to the table.
Right.
You know,
plenty of originality.
There might be like some guys that are like, like I've had so many guys try to rip me off over the years, whether it be from All Money Is Legal to Buffa now, like the Boombox. But it's like it's not me.
Oh, so
if
my
you want
apologies.
it done right, hire me.
It's pronounced Buffa, not Buffa.
Buffa. It's pronounced Buffa, but so, I don't.
Man, you should have corrected me because I was saying Buffa earlier. If it's Buffa, it's Buffa. You know? I want to make sure I get the name right.
Cool, man.
You know, but
it's all good, man.
So
it's all good. I don't get crazy about it.
Well, you mentioned Ring of Honor.
I would make the same mistake too.
Yeah. No, I hear you. You mentioned Ring of Honor
when I was first given the name, I was like, Buffa, what the hell is that?
Right.
It wasn't my choice.
Oh, so they gave you that idea over where in Japan?
They gave me the name. Yeah, Japan gave me the name and changed my theme to Part-Time Lover Stevie Wonder.
That's awesome.
So they already had the vision in their head. They was like, oh, these people love this song. We want to get you as big as possible before you come.
So you always come out to Part-Time Lover?
Yeah.
Okay.
They was really like pulling for me to be a big deal there, man. And
all right. Because I heard you coming out to that. I heard Jam on it. It was like a short video on YouTube. I used to love that song.
Yeah. That's just
Wiki.
Video package. Yeah. Shout out to Force Finish Productions. They put that together.
Yes. Major shout out. So my question is, you mentioned MLW and Ring of Honor, AEW, WWE. Do you keep in contact with anybody that's currently, you know, with that promotion that you maybe came up with in the indies, like a Jay Lethal or someone of that nature that you keep in contact with still now? Where if they said, "Hey, bro, we got to try it. Why don't you come on, you know, back home, and, you know, try out for this or that?"
I've been offered tryouts if I come home, you know, whether it be like AEW or any of these other companies. Like with me, the thing that sucks is the fact that I'm overseas.
Yeah.
Like I would have already been under contract on TV if I was still in the States or happened to go back to the States.
Right.
But being that I'm here, it's kind of like out of sight, out of mind, you know?
Right. It's more of a complex issue because of that.
Yeah. I've had people approach me that's like under contract, like, oh man, if you come home, you know, you got to try out. Like, if you're here, you're good. Yeah. And I'm just like, yeah, but there's no guarantees. I don't want, like, I've done the tryouts.
Yeah.
Like,
it's got to make sense.
See if you can't see something in me to like offer me, like come to the table with something.
Right. Don't waste my
come to the table
time.
with a tryout. Like, come on now. I
I
have
hear
too
you.
much to offer for that. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
But yeah, you got wrestler A, B, and C. They didn't come to them with tryouts. They came to them with contracts. You
Right.
know?
Right.
So it's like, why should I be treated any different after everything I've accomplished? Look
Mm-hmm.
where I'm at now. Like, look at all these things I'm doing on my own. I've gotten so far.
Yeah. Look where you came from, and look where you've gotten to.
Without TV exposure.
Yeah.
Like,
hell of a story.
Like, how does that not stand out? So, like,
yeah. Well, humble beginnings to a veteran, and going overseas and just investing in himself. That's a story in itself.
Yeah, I'm like, how many other Americans have been able to make a living for themselves through wrestling overseas?
Not
like
many.
The only other guy I know is like Quiet Storm.
Yeah, I remember Quiet Storm. Sure.
Like, how many Americans have been able to do that? Like, I can't even, like, within the past, how many years I've been wrestling? Almost 20 years.
Yeah.
Like, come on now. Like, I don't know, man.
No, you're like in a unique level, like, a very small set of company in that realm, which is impressive. So with that said, your work visa, do you have to renew this every year, or how does that work out?
My work visa, luckily it was 10 years, a 10-year work visa.
Oh, it's a 10-year work visa. So you have a while until you have to renew it.
Yeah.
Good.
And the thing, actually, like, I could live and work in China for 10 years. Well, it's about 7 years left on it.
Okay.
But due to the pandemic, I have to renew my visa every 60 days.
Ahead of time.
I have to get a visa extension.
Okay.
Every 60 days because of the pandemic, because it's kind of like when they first, like, at first they was just giving, like, all foreigners, like, an extra 60 days on their visas. But at the time, they was kind of like trying to rush all the foreigners out. So that's why they started charging everybody to
trying to force them out.
Extend their visas, yeah. And of course, America is the most expensive one, so I'm paying like $100+ every 60 days just to extend my visa.
Wow, that's every 60 days. Jeez.
And I have to do it next week, actually. So
and did they tell you how long it's going to be like that,
how much I spent,
or is it like indefinite for now?
I guess it's going to be like that until they open the borders.
Okay.
That's the reason why they making all the foreigners get visa extensions.
So once the borders are open, right, you won't have to pay.
Then I won't have to.
Okay.
Yeah, I never had to do that before until the damn pandemic. I'm like, what the hell?
That makes sense.
It's crazy, man. I'm just like, so I probably spent, like, it's up in the thousands by now. Like,
wow, it adds up quickly, unfortunately.
Ooh, and I'm just remember now because I passed the place in the taxi coming home yesterday, and I'm like, every time I see that building, I just grin, like, oh
God, the 60 days are coming up again. I got to pay another 100.
Yeah, because you have to go, like, say, like, it's up on the 15th. You have to go a week before giving your passport, and they hold your passport for a week.
Right.
Then you come pick up your passport and pay them the money for the extension.
Okay.
So they put a big sticker in your passport. So I'm on my second passport right now.
Wow. And passports, they last like 10 years, right?
Yeah, I had to. Not only that, like, when I got my passport in 2011 before I moved to Japan.
That's when I got mine.
It was been about 10 years. Yeah, I got the 10-year one.
Yeah.
And not only was it was expiring, I had no more pages.
Oh my God! Because all the traveling. Jeez.
Yeah, I had no choice but to freaking
talking about being a journeyman.
Get a new one, man.
Yeah.
I looked at that thing like, God damn, I don't even like. I know all the places I've been, but I'm like, wow, like.
Yeah. No, we went to the Caribbean on our honeymoon. That's the only page I have on my passport.
Oh yeah.
I don't have a story like you, my man. But
man, I forget some of the places I've been. I almost forgot I was in Mexico for like a month.
Oh really? Wow. You know,
Yeah,
every
that was
place you
wild.
go is more experience, which is great on the resume.
Oh yeah,
You know,
absolutely, man. That's why
world
I'm like, what the
traveler.
hell, man? Like,
Yeah,
I'm like, it's like it used to mean something
exactly.
back in like the early freaking 2000s. An indie wrestler going to Japan and traveling overseas, but that kind of died out, man. I don't, and I guess that's why like I wasn't like getting as much work when I was like when I would come back to the States to visit and stuff like that
Right,
because
right.
it's like, oh yeah, you wrestled in Japan, but you ain't wrestled for New Japan. It was like stuff like that. Like,
Yeah,
so what? What does that matter?
yeah,
Like I was living in Japan, wrestling every day. Like my schedule was tougher than the New Japan schedule. Like I'm still on TV wrestling. Like so,
exactly.
it doesn't
Yeah,
matter what company I was working for. I'm in Japan. Like, and not only that, look at my in ring work. That
right.
should stand out more than anywhere I've been. Like at the end of the day, it's about what you do in the ring, not where you've been.
And that's what I wanted to ask you. What's it like communicating when you're in the ring? You know, since you're overseas in a different country, how do you guys communicate with each other if one lacks English
Man.
versus you lacking, say, Chinese or
Mhm.
Japanese? How do you guys communicate in the ring and as well as outside the ring?
Yeah,
Like when you're traveling, how,
man.
how does that work?
That one thing I learned moving to Japan was that wrestling is universal.
Yeah.
Like it's not as hard as you would think.
Okay.
Like the moves or like a clothesline is a clothesline and anywhere you go.
Yeah.
They understand like, the terminology with moves.
Right.
So it's not hard. You have to be a little like you have to plan a little bit more with the guys,
Because of the language
like
barrier. Yeah.
because of the barrier, you have to like demonstrate certain things with
Right.
them, like spots. If you plan it, that's why I don't do a lot of like high spots with guys because I'm like,
Did it get confusing?
they don't really understand,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
being the
that's why like
veteran,
I keep it simple.
right? You're calling, I
Unless
would
I'm in
say,
there with a guy that knows, that's more experienced. And like in Japan, you can go a little bit more out because a lot of the guys they understand English
yeah.
and they know how to work that style, like, taking it to another level and, having a more competitive match, with more
Right,
high
right.
spots and stuff like that, you know. But in China, nah,
And for the
I
most part, you're
can't,
calling the
nah.
matches. I would say you since you're the
Yeah,
veteran, you're calling the matches basically, right?
yeah, yeah. I'm calling it. Yeah.
So from what you're telling me, it
But I'm
sounds like
giving them, I'm giving them room to be creative. I'm giving them
right
room to like throw things in like that they want to do that makes sense.
to work in the match as long as it
You
makes
know,
sense. So there's a lot of like
yeah,
rookie guys
mhm.
with your company. It sounds like as opposed to veterans, there's
Yeah, yeah,
more noobs compared to
yeah.
veterans.
The 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 veterans are the foreigners.
Okay,
The veterans are the foreigners. Yeah,
you're one of the
like these
exceptions,
guys been
obviously.
wrestling for a few. Yeah, and it's like these guys they have been wrestling for like a few years, but in China's still like wrestling is like in its infant stages in China.
Yeah,
It's really not that it's not that big yet because China's huge.
yeah.
So wrestling hasn't been in China for that long, maybe like about 5 years.
Okay,
Like, so it's gonna take a little while for it to blow up, but I'm planning on starting my own dojo and company out here.
oh
That's
really?
that's another one of my goals to
That's
answer your
awesome.
question is like
Okay,
getting like the TV exposure in the States and to open up my dojo and company here in China.
okay.
So that's something
That's
I'm working on now.
that's a
It
great
got
goal,
held up
man.
because of COVID, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I'll tell you what.
ready to
Once that
kick that off.
happens and you open up a dojo, if you'd like, we could do
Yeah.
some podcasts in the dojo.
Oh
Won't
yeah,
be as
for
long as
sure.
this interview, but you take me into the dojo,
Mhm.
show me around, and we'll talk about it. I'll give
Yeah.
you some exposure on it.
Awesome.
It'd be great. That
Oh,
I would love.
that'll be awesome, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely, man.
I look forward to
That'll
it.
be awesome. Yeah.
So you
I'm
know
just
what?
hoping things like work out, man.
I know they will. Just you got to hang in there, be patient,
I know it's
and
gonna be tough, man, and it sucks because it's like it's new territory for me. So I'm like kind of
yeah,
overwhelmed. I'm like,
right,
oh
right.
man.
Just
I
take it
kind of
slow,
wanted to
man.
do this when I was retired, you
Yeah.
know.
Well, like I
I
said, you
wanted to
start
still
slow,
travel.
take your time, and
Mhm.
don't jump into something half-assed because you want to have a good conclusion. You don't want to have any there's going to be speed bumps down the road, but you don't want to have major,
I know,
issues. So just take your time with it.
Yeah.
You'll know when the time is right. Look at you. You're a world traveler. You took a bunch of risks in the past that worked out. So I'm sure whatever you decide to do moving forward, with some speed bumps, you'll find a way. I have faith in you.
Yeah. I mean, thank you. I'm used to the speed bumps. I mean, that's the story of my life.
Challenge, man. It's part of the journey,
Yeah.
That's what makes it, it makes it worth it. So with that being said, is there any social media pages you want to plug?
Yes, I'm on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram.
Okay, and what are the handles? Give me a handle for Twitter.
The handles are they're all the same. It's Buffa_AO. That's AAYOO. That's on Twitter and Instagram. On Facebook, I'm Marcelo Forrest Rhymes Buffa.
I'm gonna look you up on Facebook. I don't have an Instagram, but I got you on my Twitter page.
Yeah, you don't?
What was that? Oh no, yeah, I follow you on Twitter, man. You follow me. You follow me also.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Don't make me have to come to China and body slam you now, man. I'm only kidding.
Damn.
Nah, I'll get my butt kicked by you. I wish I could. I wish it was that easy. But I'm glad we have this Zoom meeting.
Yeah, the borders are closed, man. Damn.
Yeah. But
man, so cool.
Is there anything else you wanted to add to the podcast today that we haven't touched?
Oh man, I just want to shout you out for the opportunity.
It's my pleasure.
I want to shout out Derek. Man, I wish he was here.
Yeah.
Next time.
Yep. The thing is, we'll
have a 3-way dance.
Definitely. And I don't mind putting you over, man. You deserve it. I'll take the fall.
Thank you.
But all right, with that being said,
that's a worker right there.
That is a work right there. But with that being said, I'm Brooklyn's own Toddy D. Thank you for being part of Toddy D's Pro Wrestling Podcast. Buffa and the Boombox, my man, thank you so much for being on the show. I appreciate it, and I look forward to many more opportunities with you in the future.